And hey, I'm not even going to make the argument that it would be retarded for the US Army to purchase a time-limited license on a recruitment ad either. But no, this was removed first and foremost because of the diversity in it and the fact that the Army's recruitment numbers have been plummeting ever since they made it. Oh, well, hello there, Dev. Is this 30 minutes, Dev?
It's a little bit later, isn't it?
A little bit.
Where's V today? No V?
V has an excuse.
What's his excuse?
He's sleeping.
Oh.
It's a very good excuse, too.
Have you told your chat what's going on with V on a more long-term basis?
Well, V will be, I've already told him about that, yes, but he'll be more of an occasional co-host as he's trying to fix his sleep schedule.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can always whip Kibbs back into it, get him to be a guest once in a blue moon.
I'm being forced to rely on Dev now, and so far, Dev.
Wait, hold on. Have you actually been going for 30 minutes? Oh, no, you started at the time that I asked. I was just 10 minutes late. That's right. Okay. So here, chat. I'll explain a little bit, okay? So I'm on some new medication. Related to my health. No, it's not because I'm fat. All right, it's not because I'm fat, but it's been hitting me pretty hard the last week or two, and like I still feel pretty terrible, to be honest. But I realized like I had written a script for a video about the Sargon versus James Lindsay thing from last week, and written, recorded, edited. I realized if I didn't just, even though I feel like absolute shit, if I didn't just get the final editing pass done in it today and put it out today, it would probably be too late to put it out. So I was like, you know what? I just knuckled down and did it today. But that's why. Sorry. I'm a little bit late, but I had to finish it up. It's currently outputting now, so yeah. That's right. I'm huffing copium. Copium is the drug that I'm now on, guys. Constant streams of copium.
Instead of estrogen, Dev, testosterone. Testosterone is the solution for you.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It makes everything better. It's a miracle drug. And ironically, it kind of is, unless you develop cancer from it. But beyond that, estrogen. No, testosterone is great. Testosterone is fantastic for you.
So, like, estrogen and testosterone, they're both kind of miracle drugs, aside from the cancer, right? Because, like, estrogen will, like, keep you looking relatively young. It'll keep your skin pretty smooth. Testosterone will, like, keep your energy up and your strength. Like, whichever one you happen to be taking, they both can be pretty good for you.
Yeah, testosterone's a miracle drug, and you should take more of it.
I should? What do you mean me?
You should. Dale looks confused.
Let me go and post this on the Discord, on my Discord and on my channel. Give me a second here.
We were just talking about the Indiana Jones video game a little bit, and the God damn it, the general decline of things. So I'm sure you've been seeing this a little bit more too now, because we've talked about this on occasion previously. The idea that the tide has absolutely turned, because this last month, the beginning of 2024, there have been an enormous wave of firings in various video game developers. A lot of diversity hires are being shown the door. The US Army pulled down their LGBTQI recruitment poster. The sales of diverse video games are in the shitter. And then Palworld comes along, just to demonstrate that there is no weakness in the video game market. It's just that people don't want these games anymore.
Yep, that's true. Palworld's kind of funny. Like, I don't know if this is the main topic of conversation, but we can like devote 30 seconds to it. Did you see the Palworld Twitter controversy?
I did not.
So if you were to look over on the Pokemon fan side of Twitter, they are all up in fucking arms at how popular Palworld is. And it's like, listen, I like Nintendo, but I'm not gonna suck their dick hard enough that I'm gonna get mad that a competitor a game is doing very well. You know what I mean? But like the Pokemon fans are absolutely fucking losing it right now at the fact that Palworld ended up not just being, a copycat shovelware, but actually people like it.
I mean, I'm surprised they're actually up in arms about it, because this is their thing, right? This is just fucking more Pokemon. In fact, if anything, I'm mildly surprised that Nintendo hasn't considered legal action, to be entirely honest with you. I mean, I suppose you can't really copyright protect dumb-looking animals, but
Yeah, and also the game plays
I
very
have
differently,
lost.
right? Like, the game kind of plays like Valheim. It kind of plays like Fortnite. It kind of plays like Minecraft. There's a lot of gathering and crafting and automating, like a base or a village or something. But
Heresy's
the
the
unique
question.
part of it is that
Fire
all
is
the
the answer.
Pokemon or the not Pokemon that you catch, you use them to do the work. So like they'll push the machines or they'll mine the ore or whatever it is, you know?
yeah, like it's Pokemon with guns, and that is pretty much
Yes.
what it is. And see, the thing is, the reason why I was pretty sure Pal World was going to do well, even though I did not expect it to do this well, because my god, it has done amazingly well, is because it also contains a little bit of that edge. See, this will be an interesting topic as well. So, Pal World is a few very simple and very popular concepts. One, the Pokemon stuff, always been popular. Two, it's basically Arc, but it works the animals deeper into the game, giving you even more reason to collect them, which is also referencing back to the Pokemon. And it's got some edge to it, because the entire core of the game is like, enslave Pokemon, make them work in your forges, you know? People like that. It's got the triumvirate of success, really.
Yep. So there was an E3 trailer for this game like a year and a half ago or something, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know.
Probably two or
I don't know if
three.
you.
Like this game's been
Yeah,
in development for ages.
yeah. But I don't know if you saw it, but like it had like a cute anime girl just like blowing away Pokemon with an Uzi, or like the Pokemon themselves they have guns and they're shooting each other, and like it was so over the top ridiculous. But people liked it 'cause it was funny, right? Like I think it appealed to people who maybe they played Pokemon as a kid and now they're enjoying like a Pokemon parody. It's probably appealing to them.
Yeah, I think so too. I like it. It takes a thing that people already recognize and know, and they do it in a fresher way, shall we say, you know? I think it was a very good idea of them, and I'm very happy to see their enormous success. And again, it demonstrates that there is absolutely a lot of space in the market still that is simply just not being utilized by anybody else.
Yep. I think I agree with that. The other thing, I think the first topic today was the Indiana Jones game, right?
Oh
Which is kind of
yeah.
what we're kind of circling around it right now. So, did you actually watch the Xbox Developer Direct?
I watched some of it, not all of it. I watched the gameplay. The gameplay looks uninspired, but probably competent. And the biggest thing was the senior designer. You probably know the guy with the actual Pride shirt, the Pride flag on his jacket, etc. And you're like, okay,
What
yeah,
that is, it's the Bethesda logo for the company,
yes, it
but
is.
it's the Pride version of the
Service
Bethesda logo.
guarantees
So
citizenship.
I did watch the whole Direct. I watched it on stream with Naomi, and there were 5 games in it, right? And the games, like even though everyone's saying like gaming's dying, they actually look like pretty decent games. Like I was surprised, pleasantly surprised at the quality of these games, right? So like Avowed didn't look very good. Avowed was the only one that just looked like a knockoff Skyrim that wasn't very good. Um, then you had Hellblade 2, and Hellblade 2 Hellblade 1 looked really good and it was really good. Hellblade 2 looks really good, but it's more of the same. If you like Hellblade 1, you'll like Hellblade 2. Um, Ara History Untold is the developers of Civilization 4 and 5. They left the company to make their own Civ game because they didn't like how the franchise was going. So they're making what looks to be a more complicated Civ. Um, you have Visions of Mana from Square Enix, which is if you like Secret of Mana and other Mana games from over the years, and it's a series that started in 1991. It's a Japanese anime hack and slash RPG. It looks like it's more of the same, but just well done. So you know if you like it. And then the final one is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and that's probably the most controversial one because one, it's Bethesda, right? And Bethesda's it's a company that's made some very good games, but not recently, and they're kind of embattled right now, especially after the one-two punch of it was Redfall, was it Redfall, and then Starfield, right? Like they just were both fucking awful games. Um, in fact, I tried to convince Kibbs to do like a round of Redfall with me just on stream, but he wouldn't do it. It's like it plays like Borderlands. It's like a co-op shooter, right? But it's fucking terrible. And so is Starfield. So you have Bethesda. They have a bunch of L's under their belt recently, and they're being awfully quiet about these L's. You know, these games are quietly fading away. Bethesda's not really talking about anything whatsoever, and they suddenly come out, "Hey, we got a new game coming. It's an Indiana Jones game. I'm sure it'll be good." It's like, well, really? You know, what happened to like? It seems like they're ignoring controversy and just kind of pushing forward with the next project. And it's like, well, that might work, but only if the next project is good, right? And then
I have
let's actually talk
lost.
about is the next project good or not? Well, Arch, you already showed the picture of the of the person with the pride flag thing, and there were a couple other people in the on the development team who look kind of like this, but this was the most blatant one. This person. Um, the game itself, I mean, graphics are pretty good. The voice acting's pretty spot on. It'll probably have an Indiana Jones esque story. I guess the question remains like, is it going to be better than something like Uncharted was back in the day? Because if it can't reach that bar at least, we can probably consider this game also a failure.
Like, firstly, I feel like Indiana Jones is just not relevant enough right now. Like, it's a very weird game to announce. And secondly, with a guy like this in charge, there is no way it's not just going to be a relentless deconstruction of Indiana Jones. Like, it seems inconceivable that it could be anything but.
Like the most recent movie was, if
Uh-huh.
you saw it, Dial of Destiny.
Yep. Tearing
Yeah.
down your heroes. It's like, I don't really want to pay $60 to have Indiana Jones destroyed in front of my eyes.
That is pretty much what happened, to be honest. Yeah, because
Yep.
the girl was hyper competent, and like her way ended up winning out in the end. And Indiana's like an old man. You can do the old washed up hero story sometimes pretty well. Like Logan was a great example of that story being told very well, but recently it hasn't been done very well at all.
Well, it's because a key ingredient of the washed up hero story is the hero's redemption. The point of the washed up hero story isn't just to be like, oh, look how shit your hero is. It's look at your hero improving himself yet again. And that's the point that the woke always miss, because the point isn't to improve the hero, the point is actually to destroy the hero.
So, because Indiana Jones, as you say, isn't relevant anymore. Not really. I mean, they're trying to bring it back, but I don't think it's gonna. It's like it's not gonna become like the next Disney Star Wars thing. I don't think it's popular enough. Like they were always beloved
Service
movies, but not to the
guarantees
same level
citizenship.
as like a big brand, right? So if the brand isn't gonna carry it, it has to be the gameplay, right? And the gameplay, like, it looked okay. It could
Eh,
go either way.
it looked serviceable at best. See, I could see a strategy here where you pick up an older franchise like this and you do it actual justice. Like, if Indiana Jones were to arrive on the market and it's like an early Call of Duty campaign, right? It's Modern Warfare 1. It's bombastic, it's mad, it's testosterone fuel. He's just the biggest badass hero doing cool shit constantly.
Service guarantees
I think people would sit there
citizenship.
going, fuck yeah. It's kind of like, you remember the first trailer for He-Man Revelations, where it's like, He-Man's just doing cool shit whilst I Need a Hero is blaring in the background. Everyone's like, yeah, that's what we want. And then it turned out to be nothing like that.
Yep.
I think if they just did that, it would actually probably be popular and might actually revitalize the character and the franchise. But I just don't see it happening.
Yep, that's true. I mean, they tried to do exactly what you're describing, like pick up an old beloved but mid-level franchise. They tried to do that with Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
but they failed so fucking hard that that became the template of what not to do, right? And I think because I watched the other new Ghostbusters with Finn Wolfhard, and like it was where they were doing like a Stranger Things thing. Like it was okay. It was actually a decent movie, you know. But the taint of Ghostbusters 2016 lingers on that franchise at this point, and even like a pretty fun movie is not going to bring that franchise back. I think now. So I don't know. You know what it is? Here, actually, here I have the perfect comparison for you. What Bethesda did with Fallout. because Fallout 1 and 2 were great games. Then there were some shitty side games. Then Fallout 3 was canceled.
I have lost.
Interplay goes bankrupt. Bethesda picks up the IP and makes Fallout 3. They successfully revived Fallout with actually a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And Bethesda, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think all the talent has left Bethesda, so it's just the name and the IPs now. And they're just kind of shambling along, waiting for the end.
It does seem like so, but this was the fact that in reality, it's a very, very, very easy market right now. All you'd really need to do to revitalize something or one of these old properties, you take something old, like He-Man was the perfect possibility, and you just make it into essentially a fan wank. That's all you do. You just make it something, okay, what do the fans of this thing like? That to 11. Pump it up. Make it crazy, ridiculous, over the top, and cool. And it would sell like hotcakes. And yet they refuse to do so. Like, honestly, dumb entertainment is the answer.
So, on some level, you're talking about the first new Disney Star Wars film. Not the rest of them, but the very first one.
Yes, and that one was... I'm not going to go so far as to say beloved by any stretch of the imagination, but I remember when it came out, the general sentiment was that, okay, it's retreading a lot of old ground, and it's kind of blown things up too much, the planet-sized fucking Death Star, etc.
Yep.
And it's definitely a little bit of taint of diversity in there as well. But the general sentiment was it was okay, and let's see where it goes from here. Like, the general sentiment wasn't rejection, unlike the other ones.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too. I know Mahler disagrees, I think, but we had a conversation about that at one point. But I think that, yeah, the episode 7 was actually like a good starting point that they completely fucked up.
Yes. Like, there's more that they could and should have done with 7. And again, they're writing Finn going like, oh my god, my stormtrooper friend is dead. How terrible. I'm going to kill all my other friends. It's like, what the
I have lost. Shit.
But again, it wasn't at least outright rejected.
Mm-hmm. So it does seem like, not just in terms of video games, but in terms of a lot of spaces, a lot of the diversity stuff is finally being, pried out. You see, I think there was like a state government that said that passed a law saying that like the various organs of the state can't have any more diversity stuff in it, like DEI programs or ESG stuff. Like, a lot of this seems to be finally being pulled back, and it took like a decade for it to fucking happen, but we are at the point now.
Yes.
So I mean, things are looking up, to be honest.
And I think it's going to change quick, because there's an absolute slaughter going on in this field right now. Again, the firings are through the roof. 3,700 people, and we're 20 days into January.
Yep. And I think basically what'll happen is, after there's a string of unexpected successes that were made by people who weren't part of that regime, that will basically be the beginning of the end. That'll be the cascading point where everyone realizes, oh, we don't actually need any of this shit. We can just make the game or the movie or whatever it is.
Yep.
The chat says Oklahoma. Yeah, it's Oklahoma that did it.
I believe so too. And it's also because it's because it's this, as they say, the establishment is always the falling order, right? And that is very much so what the left has become now. The establishment. They are the power structure, and they are very recognizably so. Did you watch, it came out the other day, the Has Been Hotel from Amazon Prime?
I didn't, but Naomi did.
Aha. Do you know if you liked it?
Actually, hold on. Naomi? Yeah? Did you like Has Been Hotel?
Yes.
He says yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard a bit about it, because didn't it start as like a Flash cartoon made by some indie guy? And it blew up. And
some
became its
indie
own thing?
woman, actually, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, she was the one who started the Hell of a Boss thing as well, and it got very, very popular. It's quite left-wing, but this is like independent creator that manages to make something that get picked up by Amazon and it gets turned into its own major big thing. Now, personally, I think the 24-minute format really did it nothing but disservices in the translation to full movie. And there's some quality concerns here and there, but it's just nice to see an independent creator rise to these heights. But what really struck me is that Has Been Hotel is something that is trying very hard to be edgy in the system of 20 years ago. And this was created ages ago as well, mind you, so you can kind of excuse it. It's actually a very old property that was made by this person and is only now, like, becoming properly mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. But the entire idea of demons, everyone's a demon, everyone's a sinner, everyone's LGBTQ, everybody is gay, transgender, everybody's got some kind of weird kink or fetish or personality disorder or something. This would have been really provocative in, like, 1990s or even the early 2000s. The Christians would be like, oh my god, they're making the angels to be evil and the demons to be good. What is this? But today, this is so fucking blasé. It's just like, oh, yeah, Christianity. Yeah, bad Christianity. Oh, very revolutionary.
Well, to be fair, I think another symptom of the swing back is that some of the more like right-leaning culture war channels have actually talked about how terrible this is. It's like, oh, it's kind of refreshing to see you guys come back. I haven't seen you for a while.
I've seen a little bit about that. I've seen a lot of people cover the opening, for example, where Lucifer's just misunderstood, and people look at that and they take it seriously, like the left are devil worshippers. No, they're trying to be edgy. Like, that is literally what they're trying to do. They are trying to be edgy. Because everyone likes being edgy. Everybody recognizes that being edgy is funny. It's just that we are trying to crush it because it's the humor of the opposition. That's what it is. Anything that is edgy is not part of the establishment. And thus, obviously, the establishment is going to want to crack down on it, which is only going to make it funnier in the long run.
Yeah, it's the South Park effect.
Yes. And Has Been Hotel is the perfect example of this. There is not a single thing in it that is even remotely edgy. It is 100% on party policy in the current year. Like, it crosses all the boxes, all the diversity, all the sexual diversity, the gender diversity, the racial diversity, all of it. It is a 100% current year codified show. Which also makes a lot of people look at it and wonder why hell is populated exclusively by left-wingers.
Listen, all you got to listen. If you want to be, I realize this. Well, no, I've known this. We have all known this for a while, but like I utilized it recently to great effect. If you want to actually be edgy around a left-winger who thinks they're edgy, just say faggot, and they'll lose their fucking minds. It's pretty good.
Because their edgy is so terribly outdated.
Part of the rollback, I don't know if you've noticed, is that retard has become acceptable to say again online. It wasn't like 2 or 3 years ago. Now you can say it again.
I've been saying it constantly.
Here's the thing. If you hung out in like lefty spaces or frankly just on Twitter circa 2020, if you said retard, you could actually get like banned from Twitter for that. But now that rule's gone. You can now say retard on Twitter. And I remember I saw like a lefty Twitter account saying people are getting way too comfortable saying the R slur again. And it's like, fuck you.
R slur.
Yes, it's coming back, baby.
It is.
I guess the other thing is regarding the quality of the show. You know, I've heard mixed reviews on it. That like, I'm not sure this is an instance of get woke, go broke. I don't know if that's happening this time.
No, I don't think so. Because the thing is, this is a product made with passion. There's no doubt about it. Like, this isn't a corporate cash grab. The person who makes this wants to make it. They're an independent creator. This is their dream. This is their dream designs. This is the story they want to tell. And so I think the quality is very solid. Animations are good. The musical segments are halting a little bit here and there, but definitely more than serviceable. And the designs of the characters, too, are quite appealing. Like, it's definitely from a very lefty perspective, where all of the angels have demon horns, etc., and look more demonic than the actual fucking demons, but again, such is the current year. But quantity-wise, I think is entirely fine.
Yeah, because see, I've said this for a while that yeah, there's a lot of awful lefty media out there, but not everything that is leftist is bad quality, right? I use the same two examples because they're great examples. Celeste, made by a trans activist, amazing platformer. Disco Elysium, made by communists, an amazing RPG. Both games are worth playing, but it's not because of their leftism. It's
Yes.
because they had talent otherwise.
Well,
What ends up happening is like when you have someone who has no talent, they tend to hide behind the leftism as a shield. But if they do have talent, their politics just don't matter.
yeah, because there's an example I would bring up is actually the musical Hamilton. If you heard about that,
I don't know. I
it
don't know
was
what's
a
going
bit of a controversy several years ago because it was yes, that was it. It had a casting call out, so they're like searching for actors for these and these roles, right? And in the casting call, they specifically said non-whites only. Mhm.
why?
Because it was a very woke production, and they actually got slapped legally for that. Like the law enforcement actually came in and was like, "This is actually illegal. Here, have a fine. Fuck you." And they had to rewrite
because of like equal opportunity or whatever it is.
Yeah, because it was
Like equal
actual
access,
racial, favoritism. Like they would actually ban
Yeah.
white people from trying out for the fucking show. And the thing itself is very diverse, painfully so. Like everyone's a person of color or a woman or something, right? George Washington is a black guy, etc. But it is actually an exceptional musical. Like every musical number is on fucking point. The singing is solid. The presentation of the story is great. The stage performances are wonderful as well. All of it is really high quality because they were adapting something that already existed, and then the diversity was kind of slapped on top of it without compromising the quality of the original creation. So it is possible to make good left-wing stuff. It's just very rare. And even when it is made, it is, as you said, not because it's leftist. It's because they, for once, managed to hold their leftism in check for 5 minutes to complete their thing.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep. Oh, Super Chat says anime had angels are worse than demons for ages. Yeah, that's true. Anime is strange though because like in a lot of ways, anime is Western culture filtered through a Japanese lens and then beamed back at the West. So it the same rules don't apply for anime, I think.
It's a very different cultural perception. Because you got to remember, for us, angels are the biblical beings of light and mercy, etc. For the Japanese, they have no cultural reference to this, so when they hear about the Bible, it's like, okay, and then God sent a flood, etc. It's like, oh wow, he's a bit of a douchebag. And that's why you have the killing God plot in a lot of anime stories as well, because God does something inhumane because he's God, and because he doesn't understand people. Old Testament stuff.
Oh god, there was another reason for it. I can't
Heresy's
remember.
the question.
This is
Fire
actually one of the main
answer.
strengths of Christianity. It has had the ability to reinvent itself and become, well, unironically, progressive, unlike, say, Islam.
Right, okay. There was a video made by Moon Channel a few months back called Why Do You Always Kill Gods in JRPGs? And it's like an hour and a half long documentary about the history of religion in China and in Japan and in other countries in the area and how that boils down to killing God. It's an amazing video. You guys should definitely watch it. It's incredible.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it has plenty with revolting against fate and all kinds of stuff.
A lot of it has to do with, I mean, I'm sure you know this, Arch. There's a cycle in Japanese society of being open and closed, and they'll close off and stagnate, and they'll open up and they'll rapidly leap forward, then they'll close off again, and they kind of go through these cycles. Um, there's like a lot of Japanese insecurity about how much stronger the Western powers are in
Yes.
comparison to Japan.
The
And so-
Kurofune effect.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of anti-capitalist sentiment in Japan doesn't come from like left-wing socialists. And a lot of socialists in Japan are right-wing because they view capitalism as something that is something that has been imported to Japan by the West and has been implanted into Japan as this foreign element. So a lot of socialism in Japan is actually right-wing, which is kind of interesting to see. But basically like there's this view. The Japanese have a view of themselves as basically being underpowered and at the mercy of forces they cannot possibly ever hope to overcome. And a lot of that does spill down into why you kill God, basically in a lot of their storytelling.
Yeah, and that also has a lot to do with their inferiority complex, also via the rest of Asia. See, Japan has a long history of considering itself the master race of Asia. They may have built a whole religion around this, and it was heavily pushed during World War II. But it was also completely and utterly annihilated during that same conflict, because for the Americans, the Pacific War was like fucking child's play. There's this interesting story about a Japanese soldier in, I think it was the Philippines. After the main army had been defeated there, they were still scattered throughout the jungles, trying to find some ways to resist. And the Americans moved in and began setting up air bases. And because the Americans are the Americans, they set up enormous entertainment complexes, like shopping malls, cinemas, food courts, fucking McDonald's, soda fountains. And the Japanese in the mountains were looking down at this like, those motherfuckers are having ice cream. Don't they know there's a war on?
To be fair, like if you go look at any foreign American base, there's always like a Walmart and a McDonald's. Like that's just how they run things. They import all of Americanism over there with their soldiers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like to the Japanese, this was a complete cultural shock. I mean, they were living off a handful of maggoty rice a day, and they'd been doing so for months. And here are the fucking Americans.
Heresy's
They're
the best.
importing
Fire is
hamburgers
the answer.
from America. They're selling Coca-Cola in shops. Like, to the Japanese soldiers, it must be like fucking aliens invaded, because they live in such a completely different way.
Heresy's the question.
Especially as also
Fire
the
is the
Japanese had been
answer.
told again and again that the reason why they'd defeat the Americans was because the Americans were soft, right? Oh, they can't go a day without their Coca-Cola. Yeah, because they don't fucking need to. That's why.
How do we get on the? Okay, it was super chat, right? Should we go on to the next topic?
Now this was you. This was all you.
What? This is a super chat. I was referring to a super chat.
I'll actually do. I'll read some of the super chats.
Okay.
They always lead us off on interesting merry
Oh,
ways.
hold on. The chat wants that video. Okay. Hold on. Let me just dig it up real quick. Why do you always kill gods in JRPGs? By Moon Channel. If I post it in the chat, will it go through? It might.
Maybe?
It might not. I posted it. Can anyone see it?
I mean, you're an admin, so that you should have the rights to post stuff. I'll pin it.
Okay, there we go.
There
Hopefully
we
you guys can see that. Also, you should pin all my videos too. All my other videos. You should pin the video that I processed and then put out during this segment on my own channel.
You were 10 minutes late, Dev. You'll be lucky if I mention your videos ever again. Native Caliban becomes a member. Thank you very much, sir. Zontar, we can't go back to the moon today, Arch says, as Project Artemis is for less than the Apollo program did. SpaceX is the only part that's behind the schedule. Project Artemis. Okay, what is Project Artemis? What are they doing?
I assume Project Artemis is Artemis wanting to debate me on Wick TV.
No, I think it's actually like a lunar thing, or space thing. We'll end the first... fucking
The
gods.
first woman and person of color on the moon.
Yes, with Artemis mission, NASA will land the first woman and first person of color on the moon. Oh, God help me.
So, one of the current memes is contrasting all of the we have diverse airlines now versus all the crashes and accidents. You think we'll see a Project Artemis accident?
I mean, my immediate response is, I hope so, but it's a bit mean. It's like,
Arch wants the space shuttle to fail, guys. You heard it here.
No, I want them to crash into the moon at least. Come on now. But God, that is so retarded. It's like, okay, what is your mission statement for this? Oh, to put a chick and a black person on the moon. It's like, and then it comes like, where is it? Oh, there we go. In like the third paragraph or sentence, we will cover commercial initial plans as our first long-term presence on the moon. Then, no, they don't mention anything else. I was expecting there to be like why are you doing this? For scientific discovery. No, it's literally just to put a chick and a black dude on the moon. My God, can you imagine a more vast waste of resources than this? Diversity hires on the fucking moon.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know why they didn't make this the fucking headline, but okay, they didn't make this the headline. Another big part of Project Artemis is they want to build some sort of a lunar base. Some sort of like space station, but on the lunar surface instead of just orbiting Earth.
I mean, good, I guess. That's more than just put black person on moon.
I mean,
Heresy's the question.
let me just
Fire
here,
is
I'm
the
gonna pull it up.
answer.
I'm gonna pull it up. Okay. Yeah. They're hoping to get to begin basically the various Artemis launches will get them to start
Heresy's the
setting
question.
up some sort
Fire
of
is the
like
answer.
and we're not gonna call it a colony. It's not that it's not self-sufficient. You're not growing crops, right? But the ability for humans to live on the moon for extended periods of time by the 2030s. That's the plan for the Artemis missions.
Let's see. The Artemis program was started in 2017. Its current cost has been, holy shit, $53 billion. Okie dokie. They have done nothing so far. There's another $50 billion left to go in the program.
That's not true. They've already done the Artemis 1 mission, which didn't have any humans involved. They just launched it up there and then did some stuff and came back.
Artemis 1 was a successful uncrewed test of the SLS and Orion. To lunar orbit and then return to Earth. And then the crewed landing is planned for 2026.
Hey man, colonizing space, it costs a lot of money.
Like, if they actually get to the point where they're placing a base up there, that'll be something, but the very fact that the first thing you see when you go to the
Heresy's
Artemis
the
official
question.
page
Fire is
is,
the answer.
we're gonna put a chick and a black dude on the moon. It's like, wow.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
I don't
That's
want to
ridiculous.
pay $100 billion to put a chick and a black dude on the moon. I'm sorry. That does not appeal in the slightest. God, it's so dumb. Oh, that is the ultimate diversity hire right there. Oh my God. Well, we haven't gone to the moon yet, Zonta, and, I'm not saying that there'll be a new crater on the moon surface, but considering how the flight industry is doing at the moment, with another accident the other day, with a plane suddenly catching fire.
Heresy's the question.
know.
Fire is the answer.
Zonta, last night's FNT stream, Friday Night Heights, I think, stream shows 2024 is the year the right become our main enemy like the left did in
I have
2012.
lost.
The cycle continues, no one ever learns. Possibly, here's the thing. I do believe that the right will eventually become the primary opposition again. I don't think we're there yet, for the simple fact that all of the institutions are still left-wing. We are over the hump. We are over the cultural hump. it will take another half decade at least, probably more, before we see any, workings within the institutions to actually begin rolling this stuff back. And up until that point, I consider the right wing to be a natural force pulling in the correct direction. And once they start pulling too far, which, as they've pointed out with the Has Been Hotel thing, and they're like, oh, they're Satanists, has already begun to happen to a degree.
Well, I guess it depends what you mean by right. Like, if we're talking cultural right wing or political right wing, and then obviously we're talking American if it's political, right? Because cultural right wing, things are already swinging back. We're already starting to see more extremist voices on the right clutch their pearls. So things are already changing in the cultural sphere. Political, though, I know that your entire chat disagrees with me on that topic, on the American political right. So,
well, the thing is, I am actually quite annoyed by how rapidly people have turned to pearl clutching again. Like the Has Been Hotel thing. It's like, oh, this is satanic. No, it's some fucking chick who's like, demons are kind of cool and I like furries. Let's make a place full of furries and demons. That's really all there is to it. Like, it's not edgy, it's not groundbreaking, it's not particularly controversial. It's just a cartoon. And that is the point I would like for us to return to. Because that was the 2000s position where people was like, it's just
Service
entertainment. Shut the fuck up.
citizenship.
But I am worried by the speed of it. Like, we're already seeing a great deal, I don't know, by some right-wing commentators starting to use the tools
Service
of the
guarantees
left very
citizenship.
openly and very cynically, like straight-up lying, for example.
yeah, that was not last week, but the week before, I think, Arch, where you pulled up basically a headline was misquoted by being about Star Wars and it was actually being about like their Pakistani film instead, something like that. And
Yes.
it's like, come on, guys, like.
Yes, the new creator of Star Wars said, I want men to be comfortable. And this went around the sphere of right-wing commentators like, look at this evil woman. And I fell for it too, immediately, and retweeted it. But if you look into it, she's talking about Pakistani rape gangs. So yeah, I'm okay with Pakistani rape gangs being comfortable. That's fine. And it had nothing to do with Star Wars whatsoever, and he was like 7 years old.
So, I think the meta conversation here is that everyone is used to reacting to sensationalist headlines and tweets with, all caps breaking at the start of them, and the tweets, like, half the time it's never sourced, half the time it refers back to an article that doesn't say what it says it does. Like, I think everyone's attention span has just been radically shortened by prolonged social media exposure. So, for example, with you, Arch, you said that you believed this for a little bit, and then, on the second pass, you realized, oh, this is actually wrong. Lots of people are doing that right now.
Well,
lots of people are like, and pick your topic. It can be a culture war topic. It can be a politics topic. It can be about an election. It can be about an appointment of a political official. It can be about any sort of news story. It can be about, like, left, right, doesn't matter. Everyone is automatically cluing in to not necessarily the worst possible interpretation of every single event, but the one that gets them angry and the one that gets them continuing to scroll.
Well, there are several aspects of this. One of it is that I do believe there are a lot of dishonest people on the right as well as the left who simply want Twitter interaction go up, who simply want clicks, etc. And these people have always been the cancer of society. And it's a goddamn tragedy that they keep becoming successful because, well, what they do does work. I despise this shit. And it's also because, not just social media, but because our world has actually gotten ridiculous. Like when somebody posts a tweet saying, oh, the new creator of Star Wars is like, I want men to be uncomfortable. I believe it because they've already said that. Like, you've already had the Force is female. You've already had, like, oh, this is not for you. It's not ridiculous. Like, the Babylon Bee. Perfect example, right? It became a running meme how they were predicting the future when they were trying to make blatant satire. Our world has unironically caught up to satire.
It's one of those things where like you just need a few people who are let's say really bad people to get the ball rolling on the don't trust anything ever snowball, and then it'll just go on its own. Then you can see
I have
50
lost
stories that
shit.
all have reasonable interpretations, but some Twitter culture warrior has twisted them into a headline, and all you see is the headline, and that's all you know, and you immediately believe it. All it takes is a few is a few what's the way to put this? A few bad takes that are truthful, and people will begin to believe almost any lie.
Yes, it's also the fact that we're talking about the parasocial relationship again here. People trust influencers a lot more than they do other sources of information. So when I tell my audience something, and when you do, the people watching believe us more than they would the news. And in my case, that's warranted. You know what? Because I'm a good person. But so says everyone. And the problem is that a lot of people who say they're a good person are lying.
I mean, here, like, do you want me to give like I have a great example of this, but it's an election example. Do you mind?
Oh, go on.
Okay, so here, Arch, I'll post this in the links channel. Artemis just linked this to both of us on Twitter about 6 minutes ago. And he says, "Oh, look, the without evidence of 2020 is starting to develop into overwhelming at this point." And this is looks like a headliner. The accounts, the Anders Paul. This is huge. Fulton County admits they never scanned any envelopes. They likely did, and they're lying. But this means that they never did signature verification. Remember, these counties adamant about no one looking at the screen. Remember the deleted absentee server. So there's like a video here. It's a 6-minute video. I haven't watched it. I've been on the show. I'll watch it after, right? But here's what happens, right? Generally, when I see a piece of evidence like this that points towards some big problem with the 2020 election, you watch the clip or you read the article and it sounds really bad. You're like, holy shit, like this there's something fucking going on here. But then you trace the source back, right? I've done this with Artemis in DM several times, and you go back and you watch like the entire 3-hour Senate session, or you get like or you see like, okay, well, if they said that X is the case, is there somebody else talking about X and what's their interpretation? And then you realize, oh, it's actually something completely different. But it's very easy to put a hot take out with a clip on Twitter. It's very time consuming to go back and watch hours and hours and hours of footage to actually get the truth. So the hot take is what everyone remembers. And I think I haven't even examined this piece of evidence that Artemis has dropped to us yet. It might be the case that there's something bad going on here, but I would bet at this point, because 90% of the time, I'd say about 90% of the time, there's actually a pretty good reason for something happening, and 10% of the time there's something fucky going on, right? So I would actually say, just on odds alone, this probably isn't a problem. It might be. Maybe you'll string me up by my own words, but the point is that it's very easy to have a sensationalist headline and a short clip taken completely out of context, and that's what goes viral, and nobody ever goes back to the source.
Entirely possible. And that is, in many ways, also the problem with social media. It gets very quick and very snippy, and that's because you need to get people's attention. You only have so many seconds to get their attention. You're competing with so many other people's to get their attention that the loudest, most vociferous voice in the room is likely to win. And this is just human existence in an even larger forum than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the human race is designed to deal with this. We are going to find out, I guess.
We are not. Hold on. Someone in the chat just says, yeah, just dismiss it. Don't even look. I didn't fucking say that, dude. I said I'd look. Like, I'm on the stream. I'll look into it after. I'm going to look into it. Because it might be the case that there actually is something fucky going on, right? Like, you never know. People have this view of me that I just, like, trust the government blindly. And then I'm just like, oh, nothing could ever possibly be wrong ever. No. It's absolutely possible that something could be wrong. The issue is that you need proof of it. You can't just assume it. And that's what I always say. And usually once you dig into things, it's like, oh, this actually makes sense. Oh, this actually makes sense. You know? So maybe I'll dig into it and I'll find something that's really fucked up. Who knows?
How did we get onto this topic?
We were talking about
yes. I see
social
it now.
media, short tempers, not short tempers, short attention spans, and why is it that the worst possible interpretation of events, whether it's true or false, is what everyone knows?
The cycle continues.
Yeah.
Simug the Persian, if I saw you on the street, can I kiss you on the cheek? I don't live in Persia. That'd be weird. We don't do that here. Marksman of 117p. In honor of this satanic panic, we'll actually watch the new
guaranteed
Has-Been Hotel
citizenship.
series. It's funny seeing the progressive and Bible thumpers on the same side. I mean, I watched the first 4 episodes of it. I don't know if I'll bother watching the rest. We'll see, because I didn't hate it. It was just like... very... Again, if it had come out 20 years ago, it would be revolutionary. But today, it's just kind of formulaic.
Speaking of things that you have finished and should do a video on, Scott Pilgrim, is it coming?
Don't know. So
Oh God.
frivolous.
Someone in the chat says, "Don't assume things." Also, Dev, VTubers are bad. Her, everyone's a simp.
Guaranteed
That's not what I
citizenship.
said. Okay, how come you guys gotta like twist every argument I make? Can't you at least like say it back to me accurately before you critique it? I don't know if you saw Arch, but V and I had another argument in the private chat over it.
VTubers do be bad, though.
I basically laid out like, okay, here's a picture of Amaranth, and here's a picture of just like a regular girl in like a hoodie who's playing games on her Twitch stream, right? And they both make money off Twitch. And there's a spectrum between these two women, all right, of more thought to less thought. And even though there's a spectrum, and therefore there's like a hazy middle ground between them, and there's no real hard boundary, we can still recognize that these are two different things, right? We can still recognize that one of them is just playing games and is just kind of doing their thing, and one of them plays things up. And that's my VTuber argument, basically.
Prison Warrior 1. Hey, missed the last couple of podcasts due to family matters and work. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Thank you, and I hope you do too. You should check out the solo leveling anime. Any news on when we can expect an ArchCast with Kirsha and RG on top of the anime gacha waifus? Possibly. I'm going to do one on gatekeeping as a topic in the near future, and then we'll see if we can get some other guests on too. Doman, Man-in-Lord has a release date of April. That's neat. That is neat, actually. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's already had like millions of wish lists, so it's probably going to be a massive success for Hooded Horse too, which is very good because I like them. Silver Kestrel, this isn't D&D. You failed us again, Arch. It's not D&D day, and V's probably still sick, anyways.
V was stuck. That's right.
McWall 11, hail his supreme glorious greatness, Sir Arch of Terror, our Lord and Savior. Where are all the traitors, commies, and cat twinks going solo? I had to go solo to Dev.
I just realized I actually am taking up the spot. I'm taking up V's spot on the overlay now, aren't I?
I've moved you because you were facing the wrong way.
Oh.
Adoman asks, hi Dev, how is your fourth chair doing? How is your fourth chair doing?
Excellent.
That's good. It's fighting the good fight. Artemis Fowl says, fight me, Dev.
Oh, what are you fighting over this time?
Actually, we need to have the Dev v Artemis debate on my channel. That'll probably let me retire.
Dev v Artemis? Is V going to be there too?
No, just Dev v Artemis. Bloodsport.
Oh,
Good
Dev
old style.
versus Artemis. Got it. Yeah.
Max 117b. Dev hurt himself after Share 3 broke. Rip chair. And Mac 11. Fat commie inbound. Brace yourself. Oh. Well, he is a communist. But he's getting slimmer. I hope.
I am. I'm also not a communist.
Not an FBI says, so Dev's on estrogen. Time to make those man boobas into lady boobas. I think that too would be a tremendously good transformation.
I didn't know you were into traps, Arch.
Hey, they're better than man boobies. Why Hayton says, there's a new invention called an alarm clock, Dev. Have you heard of it? That's a good point.
I wasn't sleeping. V is the sleeping one right now.
On as well, the
I have lost.
Palidex Entry 69 is a massive horny lizard that will chase down humans and breed them. It looks like it's wearing pasties. Predictable. And he also says, you don't just turn animals into pals, humans can be caught and turned into pals as well. And you can sell them to a pal trader. Almost as if the word is a replacement for something else. Almost. We need to bring back the slave trade. That's what people really want. Was there anything...
Wait, is it?
Yeah, like, was there anything actually immoral about slavery? I'm not so sure.
Okay, you sound like more of a communist than me.
I don't know if slavery has anything to do with communism.
That's what all the workers become.
No, we need the title of slave. Extreme capitalism is what we need. Mobile 11, at Artemis, Slave World has bad optics. Breeding DLC. Yes, breeding DLC would be lovely. I mean, if you're already going to create a sexy Pokemon, then you might as well create sexy Pokemon children as well out of it, I guess. Why not? You could create an entire family of Pokemon.
I feel like when V left the show, all of your consideration regarding optics went with him.
That's just because V makes the worst optics.
I have lost.
Not an AI says all fun and games till Palworld DLC School. Now, honestly, like the Palworld developers' golden ticket here is just to be edgy, because he's found a medium in which he's allowed to be edgy in without anyone pointing him out. You know, they can't call him out like, oh, you're treating the Pokemon like slaves. Like, listen to yourself. They're fucking Pokemon. He should probably push this. Like, yes, do Palworld Breeding Simulator. Do Palworld school shootings. Go full crazy on this. Hi74 says, Arch, did you see the interview from the maker of the Fallout show? It destroyed the last shred of hope I had for the show, as small as it already was. I don't think I have, no.
I didn't see that either. I mean, the show looks okay.
Yes, I too. I'm keeping myself a little bit in the dark because I don't like trying to ruin myself on things that I might be interested in. And the promo shots from it looked quite good. Let's see here.
Okay.
Oh God.
Hold
okay.
on.
Is the
Fallout
Fallout
show
the next
creators.
Last of Us?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's, yeah,
So-
yeah.
Fallout show creators envision the Prime Video series as Fallout 5. I mean, you could just make Fallout 5, you know?
You could just make Fallout 5, yeah. Is Fallout the next Last of Us? Whoa, but what has a great warning. There's monologue to every main like games. Fallout franchise, real mood setup, and a similar citizen society, it all the future, blah, 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 blah. Is there anything mentioned as to... Adding in tones, here's a storyline of the world is opposite on rails, bringing the scope to the audience, kind of freedom as possible, as no prestige television. Blah. Huh.
What's the most
We'll take-
recent news about it?
Multiple eras. Pre-nuclear apocalypse, the seed is present, charting his path from a normal life to become an irradiated man in black 2 centuries later. Okay, so it's going to be a multiple timeline story thing to show us society. Alright, questionable.
I mean, there's weird stuff here, but I can't find anything sensationalistic regarding Fallout.
Here we go. The lack of shared reality sadly parallels much of the cultural division in our own world, and it will boil up through Lucy's experience. There's so much resonance to this story of this privileged young lady who comes from a luxury fallout shelter and has spent her entire life in the lives of previous 9 generations with this almost messianic fervor about returning to the earth and rebuilding America. Alright, yeah, I'm starting to see a little bit of a shadow on the wall.
All they had to do was Mr. House, and it would have been fine.
Because, again, this is such of a left-wing position. It's like, they consider themselves saviors. How dare they? The world's been destroyed by a nuclear fucking apocalypse. The people with steady supplies of food and water are the saviors.
Yep. Like, how dare you rebuild things from the mess that we made? Oh.
Exactly. Like, how dare you being eaten by a rat scorpion? How dare you patronize me? I don't need your help. Really? I could just shoot that thing, you know.
How dare you build up civilization somewhere because nobody else has it and now things are not equal.
We'll see, but yes, I'm immediately worried whenever somebody starts to frame their story in such a left-wing focus. That usually means there are going to be gaping fucking plot holes in the near future. We'll see. Chat says, I bet everything is Trump's fault. That would be so on the fucking nose.
Trump caused it.
You know, there's a little pre-roll like, back in the day, there were politicians who were being irresponsible, Trump flashes across the television, and then nuclear war.
Well, did you see that one scene from Star Trek Strange New Worlds where they showed the 2020 Capitol riots?
Yes, I remember that.
Fuck.
Andrew Schmidt, ask Dev how many transports IGN Mogami sank, Arch. Also, love the most recent Inquisition video. Thank you very much.
I have no clue what he's talking about, unfortunately.
The Mogami, IGN stands for Imperial Japanese Navy, and the Mogami was a heavy cruiser, I believe. Does this help you in any way, Kyle?
Kyle.
Hello, Dev. I'm used to calling out Kyle when there's anything dumb going on, okay? It's normal.
I have no clue. Speaking of Kyle, listen, the Zomboid server is now fucking insane because we actually had a wave of zombies destroy our base. It is quite hard to play on it now. He cranked the zombies up so fucking high. It's almost unplayable.
Good. I'm looking forward to our restart.
I have lost. Shit.
Artemis Fell says, Episode 7 was a good start. Forgets that the commercials lied and made it seem like Finn was the main character of a stormtrooper turned Jedi. Yeah, sort of. I remember the introduction of Finn had a lot of people kind of confused because he's a stormtrooper. I was like, okay, are we going to get the story of a stormtrooper? And this was still a little bit earlier on in the culture war, so the fact that he was black wasn't immediately a massive red flag. It's like, okay, a stormtrooper who happens to be black. Right, where are they going to go with this? Nowhere. That's where.
Now, to be fair, I remember going on 4chan's poll board when the movie was announced, and they had a lot to say about the fact that it was a black stormtrooper. But that's poll. That hadn't yet spilled out to the entire internet.
Mm-hmm. And Finn was just the most wasted character ever. Like, the idea of a stormtrooper's journey as he goes from, mind wash to the horrors of war, etc., figuring out whether or not the Imperium are the good guys or the bad guys, that can be really interesting. And they did none of that. One of his friends is killed by an insurgent, and this leads Finn to the conclusion that he must join the insurgents and kill more of his friends. Sure, very well, why not? McQuall 11, at Arch, thoughts on DLC's PAL trading, PAL breeding, PAL school battles, PAL revolution, PAL emancipation, PAL opium epidemic. I think they should go as edgy as they could. Do it all. Do it all. 11. Anime had angels are worse than demons for ages. That is true. Marked shamed. Dev, socialism versus capitalism. Canada Health Service have made medical assistance in dying. American company Boeing has paid plane assistance in dying.
So I'm going to assume that what's actually happening here is the competency crisis. That's where we're at with a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
Which is something that nobody on the left, no progressive, no socialist, even most liberals won't talk about, but it is a problem that is growing.
Yes. There There was the other day, the US was talking about how it didn't know how to maintain its Minuteman ICBMs, missiles anymore, because they were too old. Like, the plans didn't exist anymore, their technicians weren't capable of reverse engineering them, etc. A lot of the systems had been lost. And you look at the current crop of people coming up, and people are just getting dumber. Like, straight up, people are getting dumber. A lot of our technology is being lost, and it's because we are no longer required to problem solve. Problem solving is a huge part of learning. When you are being forced to come up with creative solutions to issues, you become more intelligent. You learn more systems. And I don't know if intelligent is necessarily the correct word, but it makes you more competent at your task. If the title of engineer at, say, Boeing only means that you know how to tighten the screws and bolts that are delivered to you ready manufactured from a subcontractor, you're gonna do stupid shit. And you're not going to be able to solve the problems that come up.
Yep. This is the easiest way to understand this is that usually each generation has to help the previous generation with the new technology, right? Like, we had to help our parents get the family computer working when it broke and help
Service
them get the
guaranteed
printer working,
citizenship.
set up the TV, right? And then they had to do this. Like, as you go back through the generations, this is how it was, right? But now, Zoomers have no fucking clue how to use a computer. They're scrolling on phones, and phones are vastly simplistic. You can't access their back end. Like, they don't know anything about how anything works.
Mm-hmm. And because, like, if your phone breaks, you can't fix it. You can't, like, boot it into BIOS or try and reset it or try and, like, plug out parts to see what is broken, etc. There's no fixing your phone, because if you open it, you've nulled the warranty. So you're incentivized to not do so. And even if you did try and fix it, you would actually need a fair bit of specialized knowledge to try and fix it as well, because it's not like a computer, where it's like, okay, is it my graphic card? Let's unplug that. Nope, still crashes. Okay, what about my RAM, etc., and stuff like that. Diagnostics. The computer is, as you say, it's just a scrolling device. People press icons and they flip through pages, and their interaction is limited to that. App, swipe, app.
Mm-hmm. I will say, guys, if you ever have the opportunity and you got to buy a new phone, buy a Fairphone, because they seem to be the one company bucking the trend. Arch, you're in Europe. You know what Fairphones are, right? They're a European phone.
I barely use my phone.
Heresy's the question.
Okay.
Fire is the
So
answer.
Fairphone is a Dutch company, and they've basically devoted themselves to a few core principles. One of them is that it is a very leftist principle. Everything in the phone's recycled. It's all
Heresy's the
recycled
question.
materials.
Fire
All
is
their
the
workers,
answer.
even if they're in factories
All
in
the
China,
workers are recycled.
all the workers are recycled. No, all the workers, even if they're from the third world, they all get paid a fair wage. Like, they're very lefty in that regard. They're very eco-friendly, and they're very, let's not exploit our workers. However, they also have some right-wing elements, because the phone doesn't have the capability to do a lot of the tracking stuff that other phones have. And also, the phone is completely modular. So you're not locked into an ecosystem where Apple has to repair your phone, or you can't open the back of your phone. Every piece is repairable, and they sell every piece. So if you want to be that guy who, like, the charge port on my phone broke, you can go buy a charge port for $20 and just stick it in there, because it's all modular. It all just pops in and pops out.
Mm-hmm. That is
So
kind of appealing, yeah.
it's quite nice having one, I gotta say. Because here's the thing, it's only sold in Europe, but you can import one to North America, but North America uses like 3 cell phone bands, and the Fairphone only picks up one of them, because it's made for European cell phone bands, and there's not much overlap. So you can still use it when you're here. It's just that if you're in like a very, very busy area, you might be crowded out of the network sometimes. But still, it's a very good phone.
And this is a very genuine concern, and we can see it everywhere. Like, most obviously, probably in gaming. So the big Starfield patch, right? The big Starfield patch that was supposed to start fixing the game, etc., was delayed because of issues. And even then, it doesn't fix anything. It's like bug fixes and shit. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't revitalize the gameplay. It doesn't give you something to do in Starfield. It's bug fixes. And Starfield itself is a remarkably lazy product for all it is. There's so little in it in innovation. They haven't created anything new. Like, did you play Morrowind back in the day?
Yep.
Like, Morrowind, they needed to break their own game so many times to get it to work. Like, they needed to fuck with the Silt Strider system, because originally you were supposed to be able to ride those things, and they were like, okay, we can't make this work. Can we come up with some other system? Like, okay, let's do some kind of fast-traveling stuff. What about the city of Vivek? It'll literally burn your computer to the ground if it tries to render. What do? We add in the fog, etc. They had to problem-solve practically every single fucking solitary part of the game as they were making it. And there are games that are way worse than that. Like, there are games that are just towering constructs of Babylonian complexity, where if they change something, they don't dare do it because it might break and they'll have no idea how to fix it. And this created better games, objectively better, more complex, more interesting games. Whereas today, you look at modern-day Total Wars, and they're barely trying to reintroduce mechanics we had 10 years ago. You look at Starfield, and it's like, it doesn't even have half of the mechanics of preceding Bethesda games. It is very clear that the skill to make games have decreased over the years, even as the tools to make games have exponentially increased.
There's a few like effects at play here, right? Because if you think about it, the skills to farm have probably largely decreased. That's because we have a lot of machines doing a lot more of the work, right? So it's like farming has changed. So a lot of the skills that we needed, thousands of years ago are no longer applicable. So they've kind of fallen by the wayside. So as technology improves, the skills that you need from yesteryear, they kind of go away. Not all of them, but some of them. However, they're generally replaced with other new skill
skills.
sets. Yes. So like, okay, you no longer need to learn how old technology works because new technology is here and it's still pretty complicated. So you need to learn how this works now instead, right? And so you have like some libertarian types who are just like waiting for the collapse because they're like, man, once society falls apart and all the liberal governments, go by the wayside and supply chains disappear and technology is gone, I'm going to be the one who knows how to do everything because I can hunt and I can farm and I can forage and I can build shit. And it's like, well, maybe that's the case if there actually is going to be an apocalypse. I don't think there's going to be an apocalypse though. But even then, like it seems like new skill sets, even though they're needed, aren't being learned. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we now have a different set of machines and a different set of technology that will be doing things for the next 30 to 50 years or whatever it is.
Yes.
Who knows how to run them? Like, nobody.
There's some interesting things here. I need to remind myself of Ubisoft because I have a point I wish to make, but I'll forget it. So
you gotta play Beyond Good and Evil, Arch.
On the point of farming equipment, like you can, even if you buy a giant harvesting machine, right? Okay, it allows you to harvest a lot more quickly, so you don't need to know how to harvest in the good old-fashioned sense, all right? But you now have a massive, complicated piece of machinery that requires maintenance, that requires repairing, that requires refueling, that requires constant care and attention. So you actually need to become as much a mechanic as a farmer. Whereas if you replace this with, say, a robotic tractor, which we're in the midst of doing right now, all you do is you have an app on your fucking smartphone where you contact the tractor and says, okay, it's time for fertilizer. And the tractor leaves his little shed and picks up the equipment it needs and goes out in the fields and it does everything by itself. You have no interaction with it anymore. And because you are entirely disassociated from the thing, you're not driving it, you're not taking care of it, you're not watching it work, the solution to when it breaks down is not going to be to fix it, it's going to be to call the number on the side of the tractor going, if broke, call this.
I mean, that is the big John Deere situation right now, right? So I mentioned the Fairphone earlier and how you can just like you can just buy parts and fix your phone, right? Well, like people compare that to Apple or to Samsung or whoever who have very closed ecosystems. But so you have like legal battles happening in the States right now over right to repair. You know, should companies include in the contract of sale when you buy a phone from them that you can't open it up or else you void the warranty? Should that be legal, right? If you try to repair it yourself, does that void the warranty? Or in some cases, the company is saying you can't even buy a phone from us. Like if you buy a phone from us and then you try to repair it, you lose ownership of the phone, which is why there's a lot of pushing and like renting instead of owning things. That's a big push too. But what's at the core of all this is repairing your own stuff, right? Rather than having a company repair it, because that offers them a level of control. But the people who are opposing right to repair legislation right now, there's a lot of them coming from phone companies, but the biggest opposition is coming from farming equipment companies because they have that shit on lockdown. So you have farmers right now who actually could repair their tractors, but if they do, they lose like $500,000 because now they the parts come from John Deere, and they refuse to sell them parts if they repair it themselves. So they have to stay in John Deere's ecosystem. So it's kind of strange because everyone thinks of right to repair as a phone thing, but the biggest battleground for it right now is with farmers.
That is kind of crazy. And another aspect of this, to bring it back to gaming as
Heresy's
well,
the question.
is the
Fire is
recent
the answer.
Ubisoft thing, where they say gamers need to get comfortable with not owning their games, etc.
Oh, just real quick here. John Deere tractors lost their right to repair case in Colorado in 2023. Oh, that must be some new news. Okay.
Because this also is the war on attention span. Again, like human attention span is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and fucking shrinking. And we are practically cultivating like ADHD stuff like that, you know, these mental disorders, because you don't need the attention span anymore. Like back in the good old days, you did need quite a bit of attention span for quite a bit of things. Like even something simplistic like PC troubleshooting, for example. You needed to go into the computer. You need to check, like, maybe you bring out a voltage meter. It's like, is this passing voltage? You know, is this connected? Is this burned out, etc. Things needed effort. And even within video gaming, like, you know, the old games where particularly like the Japanese RPGs, where you need to grind for 5 hours to defeat the boss, or you needed to understand the mechanic to continue, or where you needed to write down the fucking passwords for combination locks and so on, right? But with this whole idea of renting video games, this is going to get exponentially worse yet again. Because when you have a subscription service that costs $17 to get the new games, right? And on the one hand, that's a good deal. And I entirely understand the incentive to do so, because you're living in an age where the majority of games are probably going to be shit anyways, so why are you going to pay $60 for it? You're not. That would be dumb. You're going to pay $17 a month, and you get to test it. If it sucks, If it doesn't, there's no way you'll play it for a month. Like, you're not going to play the new fucking race swap Ring of the Prince of Persia for a month. Like, 12 hours at the most, and so on, right? Pump and dump games. But once this become normalized, what are the video game companies going to do? How are they going to continuously earn money at only $17 a month when they're claiming to lose money at $60 to $70 a month? Well, they're going to make shorter, dumber, more compact titles, even more pump and dump shit, games that can be finished in a day or less and then never played again, and then that will become the norm because everyone will have gotten aboard the subscription model.
Arch, are you saying that greedy companies are the problem? You socialist.
In
See how it is. Here, so everyone says, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's like the catchphrase for this sort of thing. You'll never own anything again. You're just going to rent everything. And I understand the fear of that, right? Because people like to own their own stuff, for sure. Because if you own a house rather than rent it, that's different. However, the other side of the argument is that if you're talking about houses specifically, like if you own a house, it's yours, and it's much harder to take it from you. Not impossible, but it's much harder. If you rent a house, You're not worrying about
Heresy's the
repairing it. You're not
question.
worrying about
Fire is
taxes.
the
You're not
answer.
worrying about if you have to move suddenly. The process of selling the house and moving on, you can just up and leave. Right? There are advantages to renting, and not everything is better off owned if you think about it. It depends on your situation, depends on your personality type, depends on a whole bunch of things. When it comes to games, and also I think movies and TV shows as well. So if we can talk about Netflix in the same breath, um, a lot of this stuff you won't play more than once. You know,
Mhm.
like if you want to own an old Super Nintendo cartridge of Chrono Trigger and dig it out every few months, 'cause it's like a classic, amazing game, and play through it constantly, then you probably should own that physical cartridge for your Super Nintendo, right? There's a lot of games like that where you should, if you really love it and you're going to play it a lot, it's actually worth it to have your own copy. But random indie game that you're only going to play once and then never touch again, or a game like Starfield, which is on Game Pass and sucks, and let's say you have Game Pass, oh, I can play Starfield. You turn it on, it fucking sucks. You turn it off after like a few hours of tinkering with it, realizing how terrible it is, right? In all of those instances, it's actually better that you don't own these games. Like,
Yep.
do you really want to own a copy of Starfield? Like, pay $90 or whatever the fuck it is on release day to have a copy of Starfield when the game sucks? Or did you just want to try it out on your Game Pass account, which you pay for anyway because you're playing all the games in Game Pass, realize it sucks and moves on, and then you just move on, right? So it's not like renting is inherently bad, but it depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, like the thing is, I agree. I entirely see the appeal, particularly in the modern day market, of subscription services like this, because you're probably not going to play these games forever. But this is also a result of the qualitative drop of this sort of entertainment. Like, Lord of the Rings, for example. You would like to own Lord of the Rings because it's an amazing movie that you know you want to watch several times. I want to own Sacrifice because it's an amazing game I want to play multiple times. In the current year gaming sphere, like beyond the grand strategy games, which are literally designed for infinite replayability, there's not a lot of those games. There's no Dragon Age Origins, which I played like 5 times through, and this is in part a quality thing, absolutely, in that games simply aren't as good as in anymore, which I think is true because the people making games often aren't as good as the people who used to make them in the good old days. And there are exceptions to this rule, obviously.
Yep.
But it's also a bit of the design idea. Back in the day when people made games, there was a bit of an understanding that if you were going to ask a fairly high price for it, and it was a fairly high price in a time where money was a lot scarcer, you needed to provide quite a bit of value for it. And this is where the whole argument of like dollars per hour of entertainment came around. And this is why they added in like challenge modes or secrets and stuff, or secret endings, etc. You know? Deus Ex can be played through multiple times with different results, and it's still a good game. Deus Ex today, like even the recent one, the Humanity one, which people actually kind of liked. I didn't. Nothing like that. You don't see this kind of long-term commitment in gaming anymore. And that is a design part as well. And it'll only get worse once it becomes a subscription service, because you will not be incentivized to make a game that people will want to play forever. Unless you want to make it in the very specific mold of an MMO to try and encourage the monthly
Heresy's the question.
subscription
Fire
service
is
fee.
the answer.
Instead, you want something to push the subscription service itself. So you always want it to be a new title.
It'll be an MMO, like, World of Warcraft, where you pay per month, or it'll be a Fortnite type game where you play for free, but there's like an in-game shop with a ton of things to buy. Either way, you're constantly paying somehow. Yeah.
And in the case of a subscription service like this, you need to sell the subscription service. That's your actual product at this point if you're Ubisoft. It's not the game, it's a subscription service. And the game sales are just a bonus, incidentally. And if that is your business model, you're not going to do full-scope games. You're going to do a countless release of bite-sized games.
So I put a Reddit link. Sorry, it's Reddit, Arch. You have to pull up Reddit now. But I put a Reddit link in the link channel. This is a flyer. I think actually we've seen this exact flyer on the ArchCast before.
I think so.
This is a flyer from 1996 showing various new games and their prices, right? And you can see like they're not much lower than what they are today. And this is in 1996's money. So, for example, Donkey Kong Country 2 is on there, which is an incredible game. It's one of the it's Donkey Kong Country 2 is one of the games that the Super Nintendo is known for. All right.
Mhm.
If you're to pull out a list of best SNES games, that'll be on it. People bought this system for Donkey Kong Country 2. It's at $52, and that's after a coupon. So that's like in terms of just the number, you know, people complained when the prices of AAA games went from 60 to 70, a few years back. But I mean, you see games in this on this flyer that are like $70, $60, like it seems like with inflation, game prices have not really kept up with inflation, which is why I said maybe a month ago, and a lot of people in the chat got angry with me, games are probably too cheap in a sense. But also, the quality of games is also going down,
Heresy's the
right? So
question.
I
Fire is
I
the
wouldn't be
answer.
on board with them raising prices unless the quality went back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also the fact that video games today aren't the sales price. Like, when you bought Donkey Kong Country 2, you got a whole story. It was a self-contained thing. If there was to be another story, it would be a sequel, like Donkey Kong Country 3 is on there, with new characters, new missions, a whole new game. You knew what you were getting, and it was a complete product. Today, you buy something, you know you're not buying a product. You're buying a platform for further additions. There's going to be DLC, there's going to be story pack DLC, character DLC, music DLC, collector's editions, collector edition number 3, collector's edition number 4 with a helmet, etc., etc.
Yep. And also, the fact that even a lot of good indie games don't really have a physical release, or if they do have a physical release, it's a limited physical release with a company like Fangame or Limited Run Games or something, where they actually just do a run of physical cartridges just for the fans. And otherwise it's on Steam, and I mean, Gaben's pretty good, but who knows after he dies. Otherwise it's on other platforms that aren't so good as Steam. It is becoming harder and harder to actually keep your games intact, right? That's why I do say, guys, like, one, if there's a game that you like and it has a physical release, get the physical release. And two, if you're a console gamer, learn how to mod your consoles. It's pretty easy nowadays. You can get like USB drives hooked up to whatever console it is and play games off the USB drive. It's pretty easy. Every console has like a way to do it. And honestly, it's kind of fun to do if you're a tinker, and I'm a tinker, so I like doing it. But basically, um, the rental model, I don't think the rental model will ever fully take over. There will always be a niche market for people who just want the physical game, but I do think that physical will continue to shrink and shrink and shrink over time. And then eventually you get the point where, yeah, you might have bought a game on, the Switch eShop or on the PlayStation 5 shop, but in 20 years when that shop goes down, you still going to have a copy of it? Probably not.
Yep. And you mentioned Gaben as well, and when Gaben's ass eventually turns to grass, that will be the end of ownership of video games, I think. Because we're already seeing an enormous push towards the rental service, and even Steam, technically, is like, oh, this is a rental service. And this is done for legalistic reasons, because Steam needs to ban people who cheat, etc., and I'm fine with it, it's a legal loophole, okay. But there is only a question of time until somebody with less principles than Gaben gets in and thinks, you know what? Maybe you don't own your
guaranteed
games.
citizenship.
Maybe I own your games. Maybe you need to pay for access to your games.
Yep. Oh, someone in the chat mentioned Good Old Games. That's another one, actually. If you can, buy games on Good Old Games, because they're also a company that have taken a moral stance to be like, nope, these are your games. We'll always provide them to you, much like Gaben has. So
yes, but they're also tied to CD Projekt Red. So
yeah. Well, one good thing about Good Old Games is they will release really old games for PC. It's like came out in like the 90s, sometimes the 80s, that don't really run anymore on modern computers, but they will have tinkered with them to actually make them work. And it's quite nice. It's like, oh, I can play the game from 1995 and it just runs. That's great.
Sometimes. They also release blatantly broken products too. I've experienced this myself, where they literally they have actually added in like wrong files and stuff. That happens too.
I haven't had that experience with them, so can't speak to that.
An old series, the Great Battles of series, Hannibal, Caesar, etc., are straight up broken because they have the wrong files in them. And so you need to pick over other games that were released in the same engines and actually get files from them to try and get them to work.
Oh, geez, that sounds awful.
Yep.
No, I played like a bunch of old '90s FMV games, some of the old Warcraft games, like, and it's been an overwhelmingly positive experience. Oh, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, played it on there. It's pretty good.
All right, so let's see. Back to the super chats. McWild, Dev, give us link. Sharing is caring. Pin to chat. I did do that. I've segmented it.
Actually, I'm gonna go to the washroom if you're doing super chats. I'll be right back.
Artemis Fowl says that he's living rent-free in your head, Dev. Dev isn't capable of defending himself. Sean King says, Arch, who would win in a fight, an M2 Bradley or T90 tank? The T90 tank, 99% of the time. And then you've got that one point where the Russian inside of the T90 tank is retarded. Adherent of Lady Columbia. I watched Carl and James Lindsay stream from a year ago. It was very friendly. Carl critics do have some validity, but not insurmountable. I watched Lindsay a lot since now he is very knowledgeable. Even now, I'm growing numb to Da West is dying slogan. The West is not dying. Not really. Spiritually, yes, in many ways. But I think we're also turning that around as well. Mark Shame, NASA has become fashion line. I'm sure they already were, honestly. Mark 11, put them there and then leave them there. New colony. There you go. And since it is a woman and a black person, well, we shan't continue any further on YouTube, but there's a good chance they will be children, voluntary or not. Sky the Strange, first interracial porn on the moon. I think there was a crowdfunder to try and have the first porn movie shot in space. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see. Right, here we go. And it appears to be safe for work. There you are. Pornhub launches campaign to shoot first porn movie in space. Because why not? Because why not? Mr. Twisted Frenzy, my best attempt to steel man their reasoning is if a woman and a black man can survive a trip to the moon, then anyone can. I suppose so. If they can survive, then our trained astronauts should have no problems. And Boog says, I can't send super chats with ad blocker on. Curious. Well, Streamlabs, give me more money. And Jack the Outcast, Hail Art and Dev. Why is the satanic panic making comeback? They're just replacing everything I disagree with is the devil instead of Nazis. Also, there is plenty of poon of Dev. I didn't want to know that. Here's the reason the ugly bastard tag exists. I apologize for nothing. Good. See, yes, the issue that I have with the conservative Christian right is that they are in many ways what the left imitated originally, where they take a position where they go, this is my moral position. My moral position is good. Okay, why is your moral position good? Well, here's my reason. I've got a book saying my moral position is good. And it's academic, and it's long, and nobody's going to read it. Thus, I am good. And I can condemn you for being bad, because I've declared myself to be good. That's the left in a nutshell, right there. Like, well, I have the LGBTQs, and what's that? It's very academic, you wouldn't understand. But trust me, it's good. You need to be able to substantiate these positions. And, there are moral points that both sides that are good. Because every good lie has a core of truth in it. The Christian conservatives go, we want to live a healthy, constructive, wholesome lifestyle. That's good, and thus I am good. That's not good. And same for the left. You shouldn't be racist. Okay, that's good, and that's why I get to rule over you. No. We need to arrive at a point where we can take the first part and reject the second part. Accept the moral, but reject the moral authority. D-Domino25 says, I still remember when an Applebee's commercial played at the start of the war in Ukraine. That was amazing satire. I can imagine. It's still going, and it's still basically just for the entertainment of the media. Artemis Fowl says, scroll down. Buckumus, that was ages ago. You can't expect me to scroll now. QB92, brain surgery, dev, for science to understand the communists and its ability to always fight reality whenever the state demands it. I'm sure Dev will be willing to donate his brain to science when he passes on from mysterious consequences. Boog, the Scott Pilgrim video is like Dev's trucker video. Oh god, now I have to make it. I still don't know a way to go about it, though. I feel like it's gonna be shit. I'll have to make it now. Remind me in 6 years. The Hillian Juggler. When anti-activists say X will lead to Y, and activists say no, that won't happen, activists collectively take responsibility if it does. If the right of 20 years ago were wrong, their claims would never have happened. True, I mean, the right was proven correct. It's like gay marriage will lead to drag shows for children. That will never happen. 2024. Mr. Luckless, Arch, you have too much faith in Hollywood for them not to try to current year a fictional setting. Remember, everything is an avenue for the message. That is true as well. So, Jar, the nuclear blasts aren't even well done. They're detonating on the ground instead of the air. Yeah, that's true, but it's the classic mushroom cloud, you know? So, 15, Happy Danny Fortuna, Happy Danny Fortuna, Kommunistiska Holden Fett Kommunisterna. That's true as well. Mark 117b. About has-been controversy, the progressives also hate the creative for various reasons involving casting, not bowing to criticism, and pissed off FNAF fandom. It's multiple overlapping controversies. Oh, that's pretty cute. See again, I respect the creator of Has-Been a tremendous amount more than I do most leftist creators, because when I watch Has-Been, whilst there is definitely a good amount of wokeism in there, there's also evidently passion as well. Like, the person who makes that clearly cares for what they're making. They're not the best writer, they're not the best songwriter, and their ideas of a consistent story occasionally runs into several large bumps in the sea, but they are still clearly interested in making something that they want to make. And that is an excuse for a lot of bad things in my book. So John says, technical brain drain makes me understand the Mechanicus better. Oh yeah, like the Mechanicus were actually ahead of their time in this regard. They absolutely were, because competency crises, it's real. It is happening, and we are going to suffer the consequences of it.
I've returned. I've been listening to, by the way, as always. What was the super chat that adherent to Lady Columbia sent a few chats ago?
I don't know. Did you have a good shit, Dev?
Yes, but I also had a good thing to say about it. Can you scroll back to it, if possible?
Adherent to Lady Columbia. I watched Carl and James Lindsay's stream from a year ago. It was very friendly. Carl critiques do have some validity, but not insurmountable. I watch Lindsay a lot now since he's very knowledgeable. Even now, I'm growing numb to "Da West is dying" slogan.
Yeah, see, this is something I've been thinking about, right? When I look, so you were also there for the Sargon versus James Lindsay fight that happened last week, where James Lindsay ended up blocking Sargon because he didn't like the fact that there is a traceable line of writers from the classical liberals to Marx, which is true, but James Lindsay didn't like it, and so he blocked him. And they were on good terms before this, which is crazy to see, because like Columbia said, there was a video of them together a year ago talking and being very friendly, and now he's blocked Sargon over this nonsense, and he was quite rude in the exchange. I don't know if you saw it. There's a lot of validity in the things that Sargon says when he says liberalism has these problems, and it does have these problems, but there's lots of people who say, therefore, the liberal world order needs to collapse and all the liberal governments need to go away and something new needs to take its place. And it's like, well, no, because liberalism has proved itself over the years of being very adaptable. We can definitely incorporate some critiques and make things better while not throwing away the liberal principles at the core of everything, because that would be bad, right? So that's generally my response to the reactionaries or the post-liberals or whoever it is. At the same time, though, I have like I like Sargon a lot, but I watch the Lotus Eaters a lot less now because there's a lot of doomerism on the Lotus Eaters in their current iteration, and sometimes it's like too much to take. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, things aren't that bad all the time. We're not actually living in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. Like things will be okay for the most part. And I'm not saying we don't have problems, but like sometimes I feel like the dissident right is they're wallowing in their own doomerism to the point that they almost want things to collapse. You know what I mean? And I just can't get on board with that.
Dev's point of view is we can fix
Service
liberalism by
guaranteed
introducing
citizenship.
socialism. Damn you, Dev.
That's not what I said.
Every time, Dev.
Damn it.
Damn it, Dev.
And yet, someone did say Sargon isn't everything on the Lotus Eaters. They do get to have their own opinions. Of course, I'm not saying that they don't, right? I'm not saying that they don't. But like I like Harry a lot on the Lotus Eaters. I like Callum a lot. I'm not a fan of Connor, right? I obviously like Sargon, of course. I like
have
History
lost.
Bro. He's great.
Shit.
So and they all have their own personalities and their own ideas, right? But there's this general belief among the dissident right that the West is collapsing, the West has fallen. We are a degenerate, lost society with no hope of return, and the only thing we can do is brace ourselves as we
Heresy's the
crash
question.
into
Fire
the
is the
dumpster that
answer.
will eternally burn, called our civilization. And I don't share that view. And actually, I think adopting that view is probably unhealthy. It probably makes you a lot more depressed than you otherwise would have been.
And how is the answer socialism, Dev?
It's not, Arch. God damn it.
At least that's good. The Real Hallucinator says, please explain to Dev why chaos is a mild form of leftism, and why we should adopt the Imperium stance on it. Well, that's simple enough. Leftism is a disease, Dev. It corrupts, and the only answer is fire.
Okay.
Yeah. Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer. Anime Acumen, right to repair car, practically gone. Probably is, honestly. I mean, honestly, the Mercedes I have right now, if you open the hood of it, there's no engine inside anymore. There's just a flat surface. That's all there is. And I'm sure there's a machine underneath the flat surface, but you can't take away the flat surface.
I have
Not
lost.
without like specialized tools to take it off. And the entire point is you're not supposed to fiddle around in your car. And to be fair, considering how complicated a machine it is, I kind of also understand that. But it's also like, but surely people could learn how to fiddle with it, right? And if you bought it for God only knows how many hundreds of thousands, surely you should have the right to fiddle with it.
Yep. But they don't want you doing that anymore. I mean, there's two sides of every argument, including this one. So specialization of labor has definitely changed things, right? Machines become more complicated. A layman is more likely to catastrophically destroy things if he touches them.
Heresy's the question.
The ability
Fire is
to
the
actually work
answer.
on your own stuff has become lost, partially because the knowledge is being kept, partially because people just don't want to do it anymore, and also partially because it is getting more complicated, right? So it's one of those things where it's like it's one of those situations where it's like everyone, built their own house or their own tent or their own shack back in the day during tribal times because you had to, right? And they were all kind of shitty houses. But as we specialize labor, now we have specialized house builders who do the building, and they make better houses because that's all they do, right? And as you continue to, I was actually making this argument on Twitter a couple days ago. As you specialize labor more and more and more, and each slice of labor becomes more specialized and less people know it. On the one hand, you become better at that labor, so you can make more quality products and then trade those in the market, so everyone has access to better quality stuff. But on the other hand, the labor itself necessarily becomes less transparent because a normie doesn't know what you're doing since your job is now so complicated, right? Back in the day, everyone knew how to build houses, so everyone could watch somebody else build a house and be like, "Oh yeah, you're doing that right," or maybe you're not doing that right. Same with hunting or foraging or like weaving baskets, whatever it was, right? Everyone knew how to do it, so everyone could keep each other in check. But like, you couldn't sit down beside a computer programmer having no computer programming experience and know what he's doing just by looking at it, because labor is now specialized, right? So even though specialization of labor is good, it's come with certain trade-offs that I think make some people uncomfortable, with good reason.
It also puts up barriers to entry because this has to do with the infantilization of the market as well. Because yes, if you open the hood of your car and you start fiddling around in there, there's a good chance you yunk on something that shouldn't be yonked on, or you touch something that shouldn't be touched, or you unswirl something that shouldn't be unswirled, entirely possible. And you fuck it up. And then the company is also in their right to go like, yeah, no, you fucked the thing up. Like, fuck you. And in this regard, it's okay for the government to then kind of say, like, okay, we're going to make rules on this. In the case of houses, for example, if you're going to build your own house, all right, but these are rules that you have to follow. You have to have this side of insulation. You have to walls X and Y thick. You have to build it out of these and these materials. You can't use these and these materials, etc., etc. And a lot of this is for safety, and a lot of this is no doubt beneficial as well. Don't touch the high voltage wires is a good thing. But it also means that your ability to do these things will naturally be eroded as a consequence. It will start out as, you gotta build your house in this way, and eventually it'll end up with, you can't build a house there. Like, why? Because you need zoning permission. Motherfucker, I own the land. Yeah, we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I have lost.
Yep, there's definitely like downstream effects to this, right? It's one of those things where I know libertarians, they love the free market, right? But the free market really only functions if you're making consistent purchases enough so that the buyer and seller of the product have roughly equal information about the status of the product, So like, if you buy one house, like how many houses do you think the average person buys over the course of their life? One, maybe two if they move into like a smaller house after their kids move out. They don't buy that many houses, frankly, the average person. So it's not like through your constant engagement in the market, you've learned enough to know what constitutes a good house and a bad house. Meanwhile, if you're buying apples and you buy an apple every day, and you're like, oh, I know that I like this brand, and this company makes better apples, and this company makes shittier apples, and these ones are more likely to be rotten. I don't like this taste, and here's where the price is good. And so if you have repeated iterations on the same product, the free market works very well, especially if it's a low stakes product. But if you're buying large purchases or important purchases that might not necessarily be that expensive, where one party has vastly different information, the free market doesn't work. Right? That's the argument for universal healthcare, right? Or at least some sort of very strict healthcare regulation. Doctors will always know more than you about the health of the human body because you're a layperson and they're a doctor. Therefore, they'll always have an upper hand in the knowledge department. So they could say, hey, you should take this. And you're like, what? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. What do I know? He's the doctor. He probably knows. Meanwhile, you don't actually need that, and he's selling you garbage, right? So you have to have some sort of regulation when it's the market isn't actually fair.
Yeah. This also does cause, again, the infantilization, though, because the issues with regulation isn't that regulation is in and of itself bad. Regulation is good. The problem is that bureaucracy breeds bureaucracy. And so you end up with, again, zoning laws. You can't build that there. At which point, you don't really have the power over your own stuff anymore. Like,
Yep.
There's a field outside my house, for example, that's quite big, and it could I mean, I could have my house there like twice over easily, but I'm not legally allowed to use it for anything because it was zoned in the 1900s as farmland. And so that is the only thing it can possibly be used for. And I have no other rights over it. I still pay property tax on the land,
Heresy's the
but I
question.
don't own the
Fire
land.
is
Not
the
truly.
answer.
Like,
Be a
I can't
farmer,
do anything
Arch.
with it.
Import some third worlders to work the land. Become like a feudal lord.
That is actually something people do around here. They rent out plots of land to farmers so that other farmers will farm it for you, basically. But it's not that big of a plot of land. It's just pointless at that point. But that plot of land could be used for all manners of stuff, but legally, you're not allowed to. Which is dumb.
Yeah. Someone in the chat said, like, just learn medicine and cure yourself. I mean, you can do that, right? Like, you could just become a doctor.
Theoretically,
Go to school
yes.
go to school for a long time and become a doctor. But this is what I mean by specialization of labor, though. Not everyone can become a doctor and just cure themselves, right? Like, that's not a solution for the whole of society, because we need people in other jobs that aren't doctors. So on some level, you have to trust that the person that you're dealing with actually knows what they're doing. And how can you trust them? Well, there's a few ways. You have like a high trust society. There's some sort of solidarity between you and them, whether that's ethnic or religious or linguistic or historical or civic, whatever the case may be. Or there's a regulation, and the regulation has some sort of threat of force behind it to keep them in line. Those are your options.
There are also logical limits on your ability to self-teach yourself. Like, I don't care how interested you are not going to become an amateur brain surgeon.
Service guarantees
You know?
citizenship.
There are certain things that we require specialization for. But again, like, our entire problem is, as a society, we have yet to learn to say stop. That is our enormous problem in every respect, in government, in politics. We reach a sweet spot and go like, oh, this is great. And then we just keep adding to it. It's like, okay, the government is maintaining the roads. Perfect. This is what we need them for. And then the government goes, but what about this? What about this? What about this? And it just kind of keeps going. Recently, we used to have the option here in Norway to have private companies take care of our sewage, right? And it was really simple. We've got a sewage tank with a filtration system on it, etc. And the sewage company just comes by like whenever it's full, and there's a gauge on it. It goes like beep beep, it's full. Please call the people with the poop truck, and they come and pick it up. And you pay for when they pick it up. But recently, the government decided, no, you're not allowed to do that. We're gonna have the government pick up your poop. Okay. So immediately you put a lot of people out of work, which is retarded, because the government is just now, publicized an entire sector of labor. Dumb. And worse still, I now need to pay more to have the poop emptied, because they can't simply come when you need them to. They don't offer that as a service. Instead, it's just another revenue stream for them now. Now they come collect my poop 6 times a year, even if I only need them to collect my poop maybe 3 times a year. Like, this is a point in which the free market did this perfectly well, but because bureaucracy breeds fucking bureaucracy, we arrive at this, where now the job is going to be done worse and be more expensive.
Well, you gotta take advantage of it now, Arch. You start pooping more.
I guess. Poop counts. Let's see. Bailey Burnside has become a member. Thank you very much, sir. The Real Horsenator. Renting should not be the only option. That's my concern. That's true as well. And in fact, like, renting, I honestly consider it practically a trap in many cases. Like, if there is no opportunity to purchase, that's very, very, very dumb. You should probably be legally required to enter into a rent-to-purchase agreement, in my opinion. So that if you keep paying into a house, it will eventually be yours. And of course, if you move halfway, or you interrupt your payment or whatever, then you forfeit your previous investment. Sure. But there should always be a way to purchase the product, even if it is a house, even if it's a video game, etc.
See, I kind of agree with that.
I have lost.
But there's
Plus
also
communism.
people who... Oh, there are definitely people who genuinely just want to rent, and they don't want to own it.
Yeah, these people should be oppressed.
I don't know about that.
I know
Like,
about
I
that.
have, I have lost.
if you're somebody who like you're moving to a place and you know you're only going to be there for a year for like a temp job or you're a student or something, you know that you're transitory. There's no reason for you to want to buy a place. You're just going to be you want to get in, get out, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be tied down.
Yeah,
There's a lot of advantages to not being tied down.
in that case, you'll just rent it for the period you need and move on regardless. The option to purchase will never become an issue for you then, so you don't need to worry about it.
And I've heard it was friend of a friend.
There we go.
So I can't really back this up, but friend of a friend knew a doctor in Toronto, and he rented a pretty nice apartment. But he said the main reason he did it is because he just didn't want the hassle of dealing with repairs and dealing with property taxes and paying all the various bills that come with owning your own place. He didn't want to have to sell it later when he moved. He wanted a simple rental. He could more than afford a his own place. He just didn't want the hassle of ownership. He said, "You know what? I'm pulling crazy shifts at work right now. My job's pretty hectic. I just want to rent and let somebody else do all the managing." And so that was his logic.
Your friend should be oppressed. McCall 11, renting games gives gatekeeping power to publishers. That is bad. I don't like that. Gonta Odim, right to repair was fought and decided circa 1930 with car parts, and why you can buy off-brand car parts. Companies are doing their best nullifying the laws on the books that we created from that. Yep, which is the natural consequence. See, this is one of the things that does cause the inevitable growth of bureaucracy as well, because sometimes it is necessary. Because sometimes the company will go, okay, I'm not legally allowed to dump my toxic waste in the river, but what if I dump it in the swamp next to the river? And so you need to expand the regulation. That does happen too. Mr. Luckless, games have a starting price of $60, $70 for AAA games. Dev fails to realize that many modern publishers release separate copies with ever-increasing prices to incentivize people to buy those instead. Dev.
Are you talking about like the collector's edition or whatever you're talking, like something like that, where they're just like, oh, here's the same game 3 times with different tiers. It just comes with more extra bullshit. Talking about that?
Probably. So Envy asks, how much to make a MLP lore video? Asking for a friend. Well,
I have lost. Shit.
we're closing in on April again, so whatever you think is enough to guilt trip me. Shout out to Liang Yang. And scroll, stop that. The Lucifer is just misunderstood came from his own daughter, obviously unreliable narrator, and Beyond Good and Evil. I hate the idea of the unreliable narrator. I loathe it, because the entire point of a narrator is to impart knowledge onto the viewer. That is the point of the narrative. That is why it exists. The moment you start introducing unreliable narrators, you defeat the entire fucking purpose of the narrator. I hate that thing so much.
Wait. You hate unreliable narrators, really?
Yes.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Why?
Dev, I just explained it. Dev, why must you do
Yeah,
this
but
to me?
I didn't get the explanation. It didn't make any sense.
Wasn't paying attention.
Oh no, okay. You can definitely hold on. No.
No.
There's definitely
No.
good stories with unreliable narrators.
No, the unreliable narrative idea is shit. Because the narrator's job is to situate you in the story. That is the job of the narrator. It's to go, oh hey, this and this happened, this and this is the world. If you make that source unreliable, you've ruined the entire purpose of the narrator.
I don't agree.
You should.
It's possible what you're saying can happen, like a poorly crafted story. But I mean, Final Fantasy VII is the story of an unreliable narrator. It's considered one of the most popular games of all time. The story is actually very good. In Final Fantasy.
Fantasy VII is made by twinks and Japanese people. Who cares?
Yes, but Cloud is still an unreliable narrator in it.
And even then, that's not quite what I refer to as a narrator in that case either. Like, internal dialogue and narration are not the same thing.
Okay. So okay, hold on. So because you're playing the game, and it's not just from Cloud's point of view, even though it's mostly from Cloud's point of view. When Cloud has that big Nibelheim flashback that he completely lies about, and we later see the truth of it at the end of the game, even though that's an unreliable narration of that story.
Yeah, but that's not
Isn't that
the
what you're talking about?
narrator. Like, that's more of the plot, because the narrator is the voice that comes in and tells you something.
Yeah, but Cloud tells the story.
Yeah, but that
He's
is
the narrator of that story.
that isn't him being a narrator. That is just the story. The narrator is supposed to give you the point of view. Like, in that point, you're not doing an unreliable narrator, you're doing a false memory of a character. The narrator is supposed to be the one giving you information. And in the case of the Has-Been Hotel, that's exactly what's doing. It's being presented as the narrator giving you the information of the story's universe and trying to set you in it because you have no understanding of what's going on.
Okay. I've only ever heard unreliable narrator used in terms of describing a character who's in the story, but he's also narrating the story.
I don't know.
And because
Unreliable
of- and
narrator
because of-
is used as a common
because of his
excuse in
subjectivity.
various settings. Like 40K, for example, claims to have the unreliable narrator. And it's just an excuse to say, oh, these two people talked about the same thing, and we can't be bothered to arbitrate which one of them is correct. Like, I wouldn't
Okay.
define what you're talking about as the narrator at all.
Hold on. An unreliable narrator is an untrustworthy storyteller,
Heresy's
most
the
often used in
question.
narratives
Fire
with a
is the
first-person
answer.
point of view. So when the story is being told to you by a character who's also in the story himself, and he's lying to the viewer or the reader about what's going on, that's the unreliable narrator.
I have lost. Shit.
Character who tells a story with a lack of credibility. Different types of unreliable narrators. More on that later. Yeah, so there's several different types of this, because in 40K, they
Okay,
keep bringing up the unreliable narrator as an excuse, where they say that everything is canon. I'm sure you've heard that thing. They've introduced that recently in, what was it, Star Wars or something? Where they say, like, the unreliable narrator is the canon of the universe, meaning that everything is canon simultaneously because nothing actually exists. In this case, the unreliable narrator is literally the death of the universe, because now no universe exists. Any interpretation of the universe is equal because of the unreliable narrator in this case.
I mean, is it one of those things where, like, it's like a historical event and we just don't know what happened, but here's several interpretations that could be true?
No, it's very like, in the case of 40K, it's usually done when somebody fucks up. So it was done in defense of a certain author who claimed that Space Marines use multi-lasers, for example. They don't use multi-lasers. This is very well known, in fact. And so they simply say, oh, that's still canon. Why? Unreliable narrator. It was simply
I
told
have
wrong.
lost.
That makes no fucking sense. That's not how you use that. Okay.
And in the case of Disco Elysium 2, like, again, the narrator is there to place you in the world, in my opinion. The moment you make that narrator unreliable and you don't make it clear, and in this case too, it's presented as if this is the voice of God, right? Because it's presented very much so as the laying the groundwork of the story. And to have that then be potentially not true, it messes with the entire plot line, because then you don't have the baseline anymore. And you could perhaps make that work in certain situations, like you say with Final Fantasy, for example, where you change events drastically later on as a twist. But there is a difference in the delivery there, I think. Now, I know you haven't watched the Has-Been Hotel, so it's difficult to explain the difference here, because it's purely theoretical.
I haven't. Yep.
But basically, God's voice is kind of what I'm referring to. Like, if it is the narrator
yep.
telling you about events, if from an authoritative standpoint, I expect that to probably be true.
Someone in the chat says, "Is Dev an unreliable narrator?"
Yes.
No.
Yes, he is. Oh, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna yell at chat. Arch, every narrator has a writing style and perspective. I don't give a flying fetching fuck about your personal perspective on this. That's the thing. I don't care if the narrator goes like, oh, well, my personal perspective is that actually Lucifer was good. No. No, if the reality of the universe is that Lucifer was not good, then Lucifer is not good. It's the same kind of thing in 40k. If you use the unreliable narrator as merely an excuse to rewrite the story, that's not good storytelling. That is not a personal writing style. That is merely an error. We need to be able to differentiate between making mistakes, which happen, and personal liberties within the universe. Right. After Dev having surrendered, of course, on this topic,
Did I?
the real Horsenator says, I no longer care about the trucker video. There comes a point where excitement and anticipation curdles into bitterness before decaying into apathy. Dev has made another enemy today.
Wait, is that where you are, real Holtzinator? Is that what happened?
He has rejected Devism.
Rip. The funny thing is like everyone thinks I didn't do the trucker video because I discovered some truth that goes against my politics, and I'm too scared to put it out. And like everyone's like, no, I'm just lazy. That's all it is. It's just laziness, guys.
I don't know. I
I'm
subscribe to
just
the preceding
lazy.
interpretation.
I'm just lazy. Like I know after doing all the looking in, I know for a fact that the truckers were mostly peaceful. There was a few instances of violence, but they were mostly peaceful. I know. For some reason you think I'm afraid to say that, but I just said it.
And Trudeau was mostly a tyrant and got away with no consequences, just like Arch told you.
So,
just like Arch told you.
Trudeau definitely misbehaved, and he definitely got away with it. And I think he will probably end up losing the next election over it. I think he's fucked politically. I think he's done.
And Arch told you this. And you told Arch, we shall wait and see. Well, Dev.
Yes.
We have waited,
we did wait and see. Yes.
We have seen Dev.
Yes. Okay. Listen, wait and see doesn't mean I disagree with you, but I'm dog whistling about it. Wait and see means wait and see. It means that you might be right, Arch. We'll have to wait and see.
I might be right, Dev. I was right, Dev.
Yes. But
and that is the point at which you should understand that Arch will always be right.
So you were right. But back then, it was appropriate to say you might be right because we didn't know then. Like, if you guess something without evidence, and then later evidence comes out proving you correct, that means that you're correct now, but you weren't correct then. Back then, you still guessed.
No.
You still had no reason to think that.
There was no universe in which Arch would be incorrect on that. Arch knew.
Oh.
Arch was not guessing. Arch had knowledge of what was going to happen, and he tried to impart that onto you.
You've seen the future? Did you travel to the future and come back?
Yes. When it comes to does a politician get off scot-free after abusing his citizens, I have been to the future, Dev. I have received the truth on the fucking mountain.
So Xanthonium says it's called intuition. Intuition's wrong a lot, dude. That's the point.
Arch was right. Silver Kestrel. Still waiting for that MLP Changeling lore, part 2. Well, maybe in April. And Zay Jones, hi Arch, what Warhammer 40k books do you recommend for people getting into the hobby? Cypher's Kane, always Cypher's Kane. Cypher's Kane are great introductory books into the hobby. It'll introduce you to the universe with a lot of humor and funny bits. Solar Lich says, Dev, are you going to support harassment of VTubers who watch the Wizard Show too? Also, how much Boogs and Soylent do you recommend? That's a good question.
I recommend all the Boogs and Soylent for you, my friend. All of them. And no, I don't support harassment of fucking VTubers watching the Hogwarts show. Just like I didn't with the game, you fucking liars.
Yeah, I just support the harassment of VTubers in general. The Wizard TV show has nothing to do with it. And honestly, I'm hoping there was an article. I think it was that. It was the Twitter thing.
It was a Twitter account today that said noted transphobe J.K. Rowling is involved in the new Harry Potter show, and it's like, well, she's the fucking creator. I hope she'd be involved, but that's how they described her, as noted transphobe.
Avowed transphobe or something, yes. And first and foremost, I'm feeling like that's a lawsuit right there. A defamation suit at the very least. And secondly, God, I hope so. God, I hope that the Harry Potter TV series becomes the most transphobic piece of entertainment ever produced on this good green earth of ours.
You know, in Harry Potter and Star Trek, it doesn't make sense that trans people exist.
Yeah, they should
'Cause
just... I can't say that on YouTube. With magic.
In both settings, they both have perfect transitions. So why would you be trans? Why wouldn't you just transition? You know what I mean?
They also have magic.
Like you're biologically male, you have gender dysphoria.
Service
You're like, man, I really wish I was a woman.
citizenship.
Oh, I can just do that. Like they did it in Deep Space Nine and Star Trek. They just got surgeries and just became women, and it was like a perfect surgery. It wasn't like the
I have
nightmare show
lost.
we have today. It was actually a perfect surgery that functioned and worked. And it's like, well, at that point, you've kind of solved the trans question, haven't you? There shouldn't be any more trans people.
There shouldn't be any more trans people, Dev. Correct. Very best of you. We can solve the problem with magic, says Dev.
No, pretty much. I mean, it is Harry Potter, right?
Dev
What-
needs
what-
to calm down the genocidal rhetoric a little bit, but
If
otherwise,
you can drink a potion and transform, why wouldn't you turn into like the other sex? If you have gender dysphoria.
man, that opens up so many possibilities with zoophilia. McCall 11, Dev, UK is basically Baghdad. Canada will follow. Good.
Toronto's already there, dude. Toronto's already there. But honestly, Canada has a bulwark. People like third worlders don't want to move here because it's too fucking cold. Did you see? There's a video that went viral a couple days ago, Arch, of like there was a guy from Somalia and he was like walking around in the snow and he's like, "I'm going home. I fucking hate this Canadian shit." It's like, okay, dude.
Alquist Volt Tessia says saying Biden won the election legitimately is like saying nobody forced you to take the jab.
Funny thing is nobody actually forced me to take the jab, so feels good, man.
Cartography Prime says, Dev, I entirely agree on the load seaters. I used to really like them, now I can't stand everyone except Carl, Callum, and Harry.
And history, bro. And honestly, Stelios is good too. There's a lot of good people at the Lotus Eaters, but sometimes there's just too much. There's too many black pills flowing out of that show sometimes, and I can't take it. Especially since I don't think things are actually that bad. I don't think we're actually like headed towards a civilizational collapse, despite all of our problems, and we have some serious problems. I think we'll solve them. I think we'll be fine.
The Demofine says, I have to agree with Dev about the DRS self-indulgent doomerism. I started listening to some of them during a pretty rough patch in my life, and I can't say they made it any better. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, there's a weird balance you have to do, right? Like, you have to engage with real problems. You can't be ignorant of them. You can't stick your head in the sand. You can't pretend they don't exist. You can't be an accelerationist and want things to collapse even faster, because you'll probably die if things collapse, frankly. Most of us will. But also, you do have to be in the proper headspace to tackle
Service
them
guarantees
appropriately.
citizenship. And
And like if you have mental problems such that you find it hard to get out of bed every morning, maybe you shouldn't be worrying about the problems of the world. Maybe you should just try to fix up your own life a little bit first. You know what I mean? Because some burdens are too heavy for some people, and you should do the best you can where you are with what you have.
Oh god, I saw a super chat in the future that's going to have me disagreeing with Dev on trans people again. That'll be funny.
Oh, go for it. You do it right now.
Heatland says, Arch, the plastic cover on your Mercedes is there to scare normies. It's easy to fix. Rip out a broken thing, bring to part store, get a new one. Nope. Somebody else will do that for me. Real host need to say, a brand of apple is a cultivator. Dev, sound smarter. Bad Dev.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying, though. Come on.
Shadowfox 2300. I mean, you can always practice brain surgery, Arch. It's just most of the time it's illegal to get the practice dummies. But only most of the time. Real Horsenator says, what I just learned is that Norway has serfdom. Yes. My respect for your nation has risen, Arch. Perhaps the Sami have a use after all. You own nothing in Norway. We're already at that point. You only rent it temporarily from the state. No one says you could check out Edison Motors. They are starting to build fully repairable
I have lost
diesel-electric semi-trucks. Perhaps they'll even retrofit tractors. That will create the pension problem, Arch. It will incentivize the landlord banks to try to find ways to screw people out of ownership.
Shit.
They already do. Incentivize a way. Just make, the attempt punishable by circumcision. Simple. Mechanic is on duty. Are either of you going to try Palworld? Is crack? Eventually. Probably I'm going to do the same thing that I'm going to do with Arc, and once it's calmed down a little bit, I'll do a custom server and everyone will get invited onto that. Because here's the thing. I thought about playing it on launch, but I'm also like, okay, if it's that popular, and if it's going to be that popular, which it probably was, I'm not going to draw an audience from it, because I'm going to be competing with every other motherfucker who's 20 times larger than me. Better to wait until a bit of the interest has died down, and then do it on my own premises later.
See, for me, I'm just trying to finish up before I start any new game playthroughs on my gaming channel. I'm trying to finish up what I have going, because I have a few things that are some pretty long playthroughs that are pretty deep in, and it's like, you know what? I wanted to play the Alex Jones game. It looked kind of funny. This game looks pretty good. I'm just gonna I'm almost at the end of Sea of Stars and Disco Elysium. I want to play these games. I want to get these done, and then I'll start some new ones. So I'm waiting on it too.
Well, Dev, so long as you're ready to play Dominion 6.
I don't know what that is.
Good. The whole Santa says, no, Dev, the same game 3 times is Total War Warhammer. That's true. Animate Acumen, Dev, the narrator is not a character within the story, basically a voice of God. That's another good way of putting it, yes. Bitch slap, Dev. Do it now.
Well, yeah, if your narrator is a voice of God, then he shouldn't be unreliable. That's terrible storytelling. If your narrator is in the story, then you can have him be unreliable. Yeah.
Marcus James says, watch Biden DOJ arrest Governor Abbott.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Don't know who that is. Dean Dublin 25. Trudeau will be like Newsom, re-elected. Probably.
No, man, no. I can tell you guys don't know a single thing about Canadian politics, which is fine, because who the fuck cares, right? But no, Trudeau's on his way out. He's proper fuck now.
Scarf the Strange says, I just heard my mum tell me how communism and fascism started in America. With Dev. Animate Acumen, even if you could magically wish away reality with a potion like that, it's still disgusting. Okay, now we get to the disagreement. So, Jad, why would they even bother changing their bodies when they can cure the brain chemical issues that causes the mental illness in the first place? So, Dev was on this. If you could cure gender dysphoria, why wouldn't you just do so? I have arrived at the pro-trans perspective here, Dev.
Okay.
Doing this will be transgenocide, for the same reason that the teleporters in Star Trek are genocide.
Okay.
Because the human is not the body, it is the personality, and the personality is the brain chemistry. That's you as a person. So if you cure the trans people, you kill the trans people. See?
Right. So here's the thing. Yeah, a lot of very radical trans activists say this.
I am a radical trans activist.
they do actually say, hey, you can't, even if there was a method by which you could cure someone's gender dysphoria without them transitioning, so they just become like a cis person, right? Even if you could do that, you'd be altering their personality, and it would be the same as killing them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess if you arrived at the radical trans activist position, you can take that up, Arch. There's a few problems with it. I do understand the logic, and there's some good stuff there, but there's a few problems with it, right? So one is that our personalities change anyway, right? They change as a result of growing up. They change as a result of going through different phases of life, of going through trauma, right? This is just how life is, right? So to say that changing your personality is like dying when there's still a continuity of personality through the change, I don't think that makes any sense when you really think about it.
Well, I don't want to think about it, Dev.
Okay. And the second argument that I have against it, the second argument that I have against it is you could definitely make the case that at the very least, if they consent to it, or if it's done when they're very young, if we had like future technology that allowed us to know when they were very young, then there probably wouldn't be any sort of ethical issue there. It's like,
Heresy's the
well, you have a trans
question.
person who
Fire
says,
is the
I want
answer.
to do this. Just make me cis. All right? I don't got to transition to be a trans woman. I'll just be a cis man. Just give me the injection and I'll fucking do it. The fact that they're asking for it, I think overrides that ethical concern.
And if they're children, they don't
I
get a
have
choice.
lost. Shit.
Yep.
Mm.
Like if you have like a 5-year-old who's like, I think I'm a girl, and there's a future technology that allows you to just make them cis and not have gender dysphoria, you give them that shot. It's like, yep, this is the treatment. This is the treatment for that. Here you
4-year-old
go.
wizard is like, I'm a boy. Dev puts them in a tube. No, you're not. Flush. There you know. Now you're correct gender. A la problem. See, okay. I'm being a bit facetious here, but I had this thought whilst I was in the shower the other
Service
day.
guarantees citizenship.
Literally a shower moment.
Yeah.
That yes, what makes up a human is your personality rather than your body, which is why the transporter thing is actually murder, right? And in this kind of interpretation,
guarantees
yes,
citizenship.
changing somebody's brain chemistry from what you were born as could be considered changing their personality, thus changing them as a person. But then we arrive at the changes over time, as you say, which leads more into the idea of a person as a more complex being, or the soul, if you wish to be all flanty and flouty about it. Which brings up a whole lot of interesting theological questions, like maybe God just wanted you to think that you were a woman, Dev. What then? Are you going to argue with God?
Yes.
Okay.
So, because I definitely don't think that way. So I guess the way to put it is like, whenever I mean I had this, I went viral last year on this exact topic. I don't know if you remember, but a shit ton of trans activists were like breathing down my fucking neck, trying to get me canceled because I posed this question. And I was like, listen, if we had medication that cured dysphoria without transitioning, so you'd just be cis, and the person consented to taking it, they weren't forced, they weren't strapped down by people and then forced to take the medication. They wanted to do it and they did it. There's no argument against it,
Yeah, it's
unless
not like we're talking about vaccines here.
unless your position is that more trans people existing is just good. And some trans activists said that. So they're like, listen, I don't care if they consent. Them taking it is immoral because more trans people should exist. And I'm sitting here thinking, why the fuck would you want more trans people to exist? Isn't being trans suffering? Like you suffer from this mental condition. Don't you want less people to suffer from it? Like how could you possibly fucking think this? And that's when you realize that for some of these people, it's just about maintaining the political momentum, and it's not about the actual people who suffer from this.
Chat is objecting to your frequent use of the hate slur, sis.
Oh, so this is a slur. That's
Correct
why I
your
say
language,
it. You
Dev.
fucks. No, saying slurs is
Heresy's the
based.
question.
That's why I say
Fire is
cis.
the answer.
Calm yourself, Dev. Where was I? There we go.
And to be honest, if you compare it to like any other mental disorder where it's like, I shouldn't treat my depression or my autism or whatever it is with medication because that's changing my personality and that would be killing me. Like it doesn't make any sense. I don't think this like I think it just like it's something that some trans activists cling on to because it feels good, but it doesn't really follow, you know?
See, my whole shower thought about this was because of how this inevitably leads to some greater power. Because if you are of the opinion that you being who you are is somehow ordained, but obviously you can't just call it brain chemistry, because brain chemistry changes. Brain chemistry can change from day to day. It can change upon medication, so medication would then be murder, right? A certain diet would then be murder, because it would change your the Snickers commercial, you're not you when you're hungry, that would be murder, etc. So it led me to the conclusion that the trans activists must be appealing to some sort of soul or greater supernatural entity, which is their being, which in this case would then be apparently a trans being. In other words, God decided to make you trans.
Yeah, like if you follow their logic to the conclusion, one way you could interpret it is like souls are gendered. And it's like, yeah,
Yep.
but aren't you guys materialists?
Yeah,
you
but
guys don't believe
that's-
in this shit?
Heresy's
That's the
question.
thing, because they can't
Fire is the
explain this
answer.
any other way. If you make this a part of your being, and yet when you then deconstruct it and you realize they didn't know this is literally just this is chemicals in your brain telling you dumb shit, then
Heresy's the
you
question.
deconstruct it to the point
Fire
of
is
just
the
being
answer.
a medical disorder or a mental disorder. And they changed that, because you must remember the European Union actually changed the definition of trans from being a mental disorder, from a disorder to just being like a state of being, right?
Yep. It's
And-
so stupid.
Exactly.
It's so
And if
dumb.
you do that, you must be appealing to something separate from your body. Because if your identity supersedes your body's chemistry,
Heresy's the
supersedes
question.
your corporeal
Fire is the
form,
answer.
then you must be appealing to spiritualism. What else could there possibly be?
So the thing is, like any reasonable trans person you'll talk to, like grab Blair White, grab
Service
Taft Taj, grab
guarantees
Lilith, grab Sophia
citizenship.
Narwis, grab whoever the
We're
fuck.
not
There's
talking
tons
about
of them
the
out there.
reasonable ones, Dev.
When you talk to them, they're just like, yeah, this is a mental disorder. They just fucking say it because they know,
Yes,
right?
of course.
They've experienced it. Like they're not retards. They know what's going on.
Yeah, of course, no, absolutely. But that is the point. Like, if you actually boil this down, you agree, okay, yeah, no, it's a mental disorder. Could we fix it? Yes, no, depends upon, your personality, whether you enjoy it being like this, whether you
Heresy's the
transition, whether you
question.
prefer to
Fire is
transition,
the
blah, 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 blah.
answer.
Thousand of things, right? But from the, as you said, the radical trans perspective, they have to be appealing to the soul. Like, their argument must be the spiritual argument. And I don't think they realize that. Because, again, this is kind of the problem with the competency crisis. We have a lot of midwits that now begin to get involved in politics. People who don't actually understand the implications of what they're saying. And this is also why spiritualism is kind of useful in this regard, because we can simplify these terms and kind of moralize them and give them a certain totemic value as well in this view.
Thinking about it, I don't think they. I mean, a lot of them do appeal to a soul, but I don't think they have to. I think a lot of them don't appeal to a soul. I think a lot of them just hold like a larger meta view that you can simply be whatever you want to be by virtue of choosing it. And
Yeah, but-
so so hold on. There's no like feminine soul that has to be matched with with like a feminized male body. It's not like that. More, it's just like I can simply choose what I like. So I could choose to be a guy, or I could choose to be a girl, and I can they're basically like everything is detached from the objective reality. So you can simply arbitrarily choose what you are. And there's like it doesn't matter that it doesn't need to line up with a soul. It's just I just choose this.
Well, yeah, but the soul is just the
Heresy's the
metaphorical
question.
entity
Fire
we
is the
use to
answer.
refer to the phenomenon, right? Because they wouldn't use the word soul either, because the word soul has the religious connotations, obviously. But that is what they're referring to, because you have now said that I am not my corporeal form. I am something else. At that point, we have to enter into the realms of that. And two-spirited people. God fucking help me if this isn't spot on to that bullshit. I am an eagle. Like, no, you're not.
The people who are like trans species.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Horace the Hawk that I've covered on TikTok Tuesday a few times is this chick who has like she has multiple personalities, and one of the I mean, she's obviously faking all of this, right, for attention, but she's on TikTok. She has multiple personalities, and one of the personalities she has is trans species as a hawk. So she's sitting on camera talking about how weird it is to like not feel a body that has wings, and how she can't like she has to do like certain forms of stimming, like how autistic people do stimming. She has to do stimming where like she acts like a bird, and it's like, my God. Either you're severely mentally ill, or you just really want TikTok clout.
Yeah, Tuny View shit. But Chad actually nails it there. No Pants Baby says they'd say true self. Precisely. And what is that but another
Service
word
guarantees
for soul?
citizenship.
Yeah, it's like a material version of it, where it's like this is I'm a product solely of my volition, and therefore everything the world needs to match what I desire, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because we don't all want to be just fleshy meat bags that have fucked up brain chemistry.
That's all we are, though, unfortunately.
Nah, Dev, I have a soul. I don't know about you. You are a communist.
Has the divine light been severed?
I am the divine light, Dev.
You don't know that meme?
I don't know what that meme. Is it a dumb meme?
Okay, so there is a game called Cruelty Squad. Okay?
Is this some
And when
fucking
you're
1970s Japanese reference?
When your character dies, in the lore of the game, you're cloned, right? And you come back as a clone. But on your first death, this image appears. And it says, Divine Light Severed. You are a flesh automaton animated by neurotransmitters. So it's like the knowledge that you are a clone and you're not actually the real you. And you're not actually a person that is connected to the divine. You're just an automated being that thinks that it's a person. It's a very strange game, but it's fun.
I can see that. But we're not going to get back into the flesh puppet argument that we had ages ago. Because it's a depressing and dumb one.
Also, the game is just full of like weird art like that. It's good.
Plus, there's no way this could be anything but divine. Where was I? Not ashamed. Daisy demands Luigi transforms into an elephant. That's a good fetish right to have there, elephant. Elephant dong, I guess. Doman, why does Archfish Picture has two mouths? It is artistic liberty. There's supposed to be a mouth in the middle as well. It's normal. You just didn't bother drawing it. Red Nintendo, Canadians are hyper-commies. They just vote Trudeau like you will when he's up for re-election. That's true. Canadians are flesh automatons.
That is not true.
Reacting to their programming.
The Canadian political cycle, a popular prime minister tends to last 8 years. About 10 years. Trudeau is, I think, on his 9th at this point, and he's not popular anymore. He'll be out next election. The new conservative leader is younger, more energetic. He's a better speaker. He's more popular with the common people. The Conservatives, I think, are going to win next election. It's pretty much set in stone at this point. We're just riding it out.
Heresy's the question.
Silver
Fire is
Castrol
the
says
answer.
Abbott is the governor of Texas. I swear we are close to secession over the border issue. The feds aren't letting Texas secure our border. I have seen that, yes, that the federals are actually issuing orders to the Texan police to not police certain border sections, which is mildly retarded. Secession, probably not yet, but it would be funny. Scarf to Strange says, I thought unreliable narrator in 104K are just remembrances doing propaganda. That might be so as well. That might at the very least be another excuse for it. Gonto Dim says, Cis is a slur, Dev. Stop the seeding language. Yes, Dev. Cease. Control yourself. Moderate. Mark Ashamed. Eldar don't have gender dysphoria because they are pre-born. They get to choose their gender. Oh, goody. What if you regret it, though? Azrael Horsenator. I'm going to find a way to sell the clips I'm getting from this stream. I'm going to be rich, which means you too will be rich. Also, play Soma. Soma looks scary. Don't wanna. Raining Terror. Most trans and leftists are atheists, but use the soul argument, which is a spiritual argument. They have no leg to stand on and shouldn't enable the delusion. Yes, that's the conclusion I've arrived at. Bigwild11 says, we have a cure called puberty. Fixes 95% of the time. Probably more than that, honestly. I think the success rate is actually higher.
I have lost.
Fondue. God, what if your GF wanted you to transition? Everything comes back to social justice, detective. If my girlfriend wanted me to become her girlfriend, I think I would need to find another girlfriend. She'd have to be a pretty amazing girlfriend to make me consider that. Zenman, hi Arch. Sad that we lost V and we keep the fat red woman. The wizard did nothing wrong. Cabal prevails. Dev is a good boy. He's just a little bit wrong on things. The Hallucinator. It's more about fetishism, Dev. Probably. And Daily Burns. A little... I think that's supposed to be a picture one, but it doesn't load a picture. And Answer the Archcast. I am autistic, and I agree with this, but there is no meds for it. But I improved my social skills until I can run my own business. Good. Self-improvement. Fantastic.
But here's the thing about that 95% statistic. the actual study that we're talking about says that 60 to 90% of people who express gender dysphoria in their teens, like, or like, okay, it's like preteens and teens, they express gender dysphoria and they don't go on any sort of blockers or any sort of hormones. They don't do the social transitioning. They don't do anything. 60 to 90% of those people will simply grow out of it, and they're almost always just gay. Like they're gay men or they're lesbians, it turns out, as adults, right? So the question is, does that mean that 60 to 90% of all people who have gender dysphoria will grow out of it? Or does that mean that our current ability to target blockers and hormones at people is actually quite accurate? And so only the ones who need it are actually getting it. It's hard to figure out what that study means. We need more data before we can really determine it.
Equivocation. I smell communism in the air yet again.
You mean, wait, equivocation? You mean wanting more information?
Equivocation indeed.
Citizenship.
Because I know, for example, like the reasonable trannies that we talked about earlier, Arch, a lot of them started underage. And
Heresy
they're
is the
quite happy
question.
that they did start
Fire
as early
is
as
the
they did,
answer.
because they knew that this was not something that was just going to pass. So for them, it worked out.
But maybe it would have passed.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But for a lot of other people, it did pass, and it was good that they didn't go on it, right? Wait, Deb, it's not based on a study. 5% are just idiots. What?
Dev is reading
Okay.
too much into stuff again. Fondue says, I recently
Heresy's
watched
the
a video
question.
called
Fire is the
Phyrexia is
answer.
Hell. I know it's a dichotomy from phyrexia as materialism and how it circles back mystic religiosity. It does, though. It does. Like, see, the human brain is pretty simplistic. All the leftists have done is replace God with their genitalia, or their desired genitalia.
Yep. So, Arch, I mentioned this book to Sargon last week. You should also read
the
it.
book.
The True and Only Heaven. It's a discussion of materialism and faith in progress. Faith in the concept of progress. Like, progressives will treat the idea that things will simply naturally get better without any human effort. They treat that like it's a statement of faith. And they believe in it the way that religious people believe in their religions. It's an interesting way to see things.
I'm beginning to react like V whenever you talk about books because they sound big and dumb and boring.
Okay, someone in the chat says, is the detransition rate 0%? No, then we're over-diagnosing them, Dev. No, you can't take that position, because every treatment for every condition has false positives, all right? There's absolutely been people who have been given chemotherapy who don't have cancer, and it was a mistake. Like, it sucks. We should minimize it, but you can't expect a zero, like a perfect rate on these things, right? It's unreasonable to expect that.
I don't know, Dev. I think it's reasonable.
Arch wants perfection.
I think we should do better, Dev. This is why I can call things that you can't. This is why I can look at Trudeau and say, tyrant, whilst you behind your bars go. We need more information. Copish idiot. The trans view of true self is like a type of Gnosticism. How do you pronounce it? Is that a silent G? I hate English. Gnosticism, where the demiurge put their
Silent
soul
G,
in the
yeah.
wrong body.
Yep. Gnosticism, demiurge, soul, wrong body. Yep, that sounds about right.
Going to a dim D&D normal schedule next week? Probably
Heresy's the
yes.
question.
If
Fire is
V
the
has
answer.
shaken his bout of the dreaded sea flu.
He should have got vaxxed. V should have got the vaccine, guys.
Nope, he's still pure-blooded.
Isn't it going to be great in like the far future when all the males who took the vax are infertile, and now we have like the prized semen?
I hate that, Dev, because I won't be around to enjoy it. And Lord, that will be my legacy to my children. I'll be like, yes, you are a pure blood. You will be valued greatly above the others. Bon Voyage says, what if the Liberals replace him with a cooler guy and the train continues on the same course?
Heresy's the question.
Trudeau 2.0,
Fire is
Dev.
the answer.
But younger. And gayer. Raining Terror. They'll grow out of it, Red Woman. Why do you think they go after kids beside being peas? That's true. So, John, the vast majority of necromorphs come from Southeast Asia.
So there is, like, you obviously have some weirdos who definitely do that, right? Like the go after kids thing. But like, this is the thing. I always differentiate between the crazy trans people and the not crazy trans people, because the not crazies don't do that. They're not crazy, just want to be left alone. They're chill. It's fine. The crazies are like, we need to make more trans people by indoctrinating the youth. It's like, you guys can fuck off.
And shout out to Liang Yang, by the way. No support stream this month, correct. Too busy. The FNAF show, I need to start doing that because Buckymus, who was the one who desperately wanted it, is moving off to the Sahara soon, so I need to get that started, and the week's just been too fucking full.
Oh yeah, you've been playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Why?
Because Bucky was like, Arch, play a game. I was like, okay, Bucky, what are you going to give me? Everything I own. Okay, Bucky.
Bucky, give me some money, I'll play a game for you, okay? Actually, no, I'll make Dave play it. Ha 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 ha. But hey, listen, how are you enjoying it?
Hating it.
You know, if you just played the original, like it's fine. It's like a 5-minute game, but it's a good game.
No.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like the original?
No.
Really? I'm surprised. It's actually the only good one.
See, these games get me fucking stressed. At least, like, the FNAF one isn't that bad, because at this point, honestly, after having seen the animatronics primarily on hentai sites, they don't worry me as much, because I know they're not going to eat Gregory. They're just going to deflower him.
Yeah, they eat you in the original, so
Yeah.
there's that.
Why Hayton says, you seem to have missed one of my super chats from earlier in the show. I think YouTube is hiding it from you because it's spicy. I think I read it. I remember reading one of yours earlier in the show.
Was it spicy?
I don't remember. Dev, my memory is not what it used to be.
Arch will poop his pants legit with Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Probably, yeah.
Possibly. Which is why you're going to have to pay me a lot to find out. Mercenary X21. All I need is OJ and my autism. Jab makes you a gay frog. It does. Scientifically proven.
I think that's it. And just in time, because I've got to go off and do my own stream. It's time for me
one more,
to
Malware
boost.
says, have you played Quasimorph?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Sounds like a porn game. I probably enjoy it.
Yep.
Quasimorph?
Unfortunately, don't know what that is.
I can't even copy it properly.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Morph. Oh, that's one. The RPG roguelike in space. It looked really kind of cute. I was considering it.
RPG roguelike in space. That sounds like FTL.
Sorta, but it's on the ground instead, and you create clones of yourself that go on stupid missions and they die, and it's more like turn-based tactics and shooting rather than spaceships.
Oh, okay. Did you play FTL?
Yes.
That was a really good game.
It was.
I really enjoyed it.
Good soundtrack, especially the rocks.
Yeah, there's like a golden age of indie games, like 2010 to 2015, where like a bunch of amazing shit came out.
The Total Biscuit days. And then Total Biscuit went crazy,
Heresy's
and they
the
stopped coming.
Fire is the answer.
Yeah, like FTL. You have like Risk of Rain was another great one. There's just some good stuff. Have you played Hollow Knight yet, Arch?
No.
You gotta play Hollow Knight. It's really good.
No.
It's really good. You have to play Hollow Knight.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on. It's amazing.
No.
I'll play it with you even. I've
Why?
already pledged to play a playthrough with Kibbs. I'll play one with you too.
Why is that incentive, Dev?
Why not? Because it's fun.
Oh, Dev needs to work on his sales pitch. Dev, play it with me and with a camera of you in BDSM gear. I can monetize that.
Wait, why do you want that?
Because I can show it to my chat and go like, see, he really is gay. Now give me money.
Why do they want that?
Because it'll be a deviant humiliation. They'll enjoy that. They like that.
Someone in chat says Hollow Knight's actually good. It actually is good, yes. It's actually good. I gotta go though. It's time for Dev to go. I'm playing more Disco Elysium tonight with Dave. More calmy game.
It is, and we just wrapped everything up. So thank you all very much for watching,
Oh,
for
great.
hanging out, and for your super generous donations. And we'll see you all again next week again. Thank you very much. And FNAF tomorrow, indeed, yes.
See ya.